This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the Sports Talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed. Nearly 60% earn six-figure incomes. 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Week? How the heck are you? Got a lot to talk about today. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Tom Brenneman. 5 years ago, his career was turned upside down. Going to talk to him 1 hour from now and find out what life is like in 2025. That's coming up at 4 o'clock. Surprising news out of Santa Clara today. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said that Brock Purdy may be able to play against the Arizona Cardinals. I was a little surprised to hear that based on what we had heard leading up to the Saints game. You know, we talk about quarterbacks, and I want to spend some time on the show today because yesterday I told you who I think the top 5 teams in the NFL are through 2 games. But I wanted to talk about the quarterback position because I just think it is so unique to really any position in sport. And if you don't have a good quarterback, it is so difficult to win in the National Football League. Now, there have been exceptions. If you look at the Baltimore Ravens when Trent Dilfer was the quarterback, they had a great defense. When you looked at Ben Roethlisberger very early in his career, when the Steelers won, they had just a tremendous team around Ben. So at that point in his career, he was pretty much just a manager of the offense, which is what Trent Dilfer was. You know, the mantra back with the Baltimore Ravens, if you followed the Ravens back then, was don't make a mistake, our defense will win the game. And that was very, very true. In my opinion, that's the second greatest defense ever assembled in the history of the National Football League behind the 1985 Bears and Buddy Ryan's great 46 defense. So, I mean, there are exceptions. You can find exceptions to anything. But if you look at the NFL right now and you look at teams that are good and that you project to go to the Super Bowl, they all have upper echelon quarterbacks, correct? I mean, look at the 5 teams that I named yesterday. Jalen Hurts already won a Super Bowl, and he's been in 2. Joe Burrow, right? I know he's hurt, but Joe Burrow right now is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Already won an AFC championship, has been to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were also on my list right now. One of the reasons that I can't put Lamar Jackson number 1 is because of his postseason record at 3-5, and he has not played well in the losses. Allen has a winning record, but hasn't been able to get over the hump. What about Jordan Love? Well, Jordan Love, I mean, he's still relatively young in his career when you look at the whole pie, right? If you're going to analyze it, he's still, unless he gets hurt, he's going to have many, many years in the NFL. And you look at Patrick Mahomes, and I don't care that the Chiefs are 0-2. Patrick Mahomes is clearly right there at number 1. I mean, I'm sorry, just because they're 0-2 doesn't mean I put Patrick Mahomes at, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can't do it, right? So if I'm talking about the top 5 teams, right now the Kansas City Chiefs are not a top 5 team. But if I'm talking about the top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League, Patrick Mahomes is number 1. Period. Like, I don't think you can debate that. Who else would you put in that category right now, 2025, as a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League? And I also want to talk about today greatest quarterbacks of all time, but I think we need to have a cutoff date. Because if you look at quarterbacks throughout the history of the National Football League, if you're going to go back too far, most of you weren't even alive. Some of you were. And so you don't really have a point of reference when we talk about Johnny Unitas or we talk about Joe Namath or before that, Otto Graham. Otto Graham, without any question, in my opinion, is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. But if I asked you right now to name me the 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time, nobody would pick Otto Graham. But if you're going to open up from when the NFL began in 1925 to 2025, well, Otto Graham is there. So I thought for the sake of today's conversation, we would make a cutoff date of 1980. So that means that Johnny Unitas, that means that Bart Starr, that means that Joe Namath, that means that Otto Graham, that means Terry Bradshaw, that means Roger Staubach, right? And we can go on and on. For this particular conversation would not be available. So I'm making the cutoff of 45 years. I thought about going 50, but I figured, you know what? I'm going to go decades. So we go 1980 on, and who would be your top 5 quarterbacks of all time? I've got my list, but I want to get your list. And then I want to go to 2025. Again, we talk about top 5 quarterbacks in the game today. I don't think we could argue. Patrick Mahomes has to be number one, correct? Who would be behind Mahomes if you were starting? And I'm not talking about Joe Burrow's injury right now, because I think we would have to agree Joe Burrow is one of the top quarterbacks in the National Football League. So if we put Mahomes and Burrow and just admit, right, is there anyone that disagrees with that? If you do, I'd love to hear from you at 916-779-0929, because I don't think you cannot have Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow on the list. I think most people would have Josh Allen on the list, right? And I'm not going in any particular order after Mahomes at number one. I think most people would have Lamar Jackson on the list. Now, my issue with Lamar Jackson is he may be the most talented player. Forget about quarterback. He may be the most talented, gifted player in the entire National Football League. But what is the story with Lamar? Big game in January, he doesn't play the way he does during the regular season, or has not to this point in time. But you still today have to include him, in my opinion, in top five. So if you're going to go with Mahomes, if you're going to go Burrow, if you're going to take Allen and Jackson, who's the fifth best quarterback right now, today, in the National Football League? Is it Justin Herbert? Is it Jordan Love? Is it Jalen Hurts? Me, Grant Napear. It's Jalen Hurts. Why do I have Jalen Hurts? He's won 2 NFC championships. He played great, not good. He played great in the first Super Bowl in which they lost to Kansas City, with the exception of one play, a strip fumble, okay, that ended up as a Kansas City touchdown. But other than that, I thought he was the best player on the field. Then we saw what he did last year. Jalen Hurts wins. That's what he does. He's a winner. I have Jalen Hurts at number 5 on my list. What about you? Are you taking Jordan Love? Are you taking Justin Herbert? Are you taking another name that maybe right now I'm not thinking of? But if I'm going to go Mahomes, number 1, followed by Burrow, either Allen or Jackson, I have Jalen Hurts at number 5. And again, if you want to go all-time quarterbacks in number 5, you have to have Tom Brady and Joe Montana on your top 5. I mean, I'm sorry. We can't have a conversation if you don't have Montana and you don't have Brady on your list. If you don't agree with that, then we need to stop this conversation. So then, who are your other 3 quarterbacks, greatest of all time, from 1980 on? Because if we were going to go back, I would have Otto Graham on my top 5. I probably would have Johnny Unitas on my top 5, who I watched play many times, both in person and on television. I mean, Johnny Unitas was great. A lot of people would put Namath on there. I wouldn't. But we're not going there, right? Staubach, we're not going there. Bart Starr, not going there. Right? We're not going in that era. So 1980 on. Brady, Montana, 2 of the 5. Me. Okay? Grant Napear. Peyton Manning, to me, is a top 5 quarterback of all time. I think he's the most cerebral quarterback of all time, as gifted as any quarterback that I've seen. And to me, of all the quarterbacks that I've watched, he is a top 5 quarterback of all time. Then you get to Dan Marino. What do people say about Marino? Oh, well, he never won a Super Bowl. Well, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls. Would you take Eli Manning or Jim Plunkett over Dan Marino? No, you wouldn't. You would take Dan Marino. Dan Marino is one of the great quarterbacks to ever play the game. Dan Marino was tremendous as a rookie, if you remember, in the Super Bowl loss, but his team wasn't good enough to get back to the Super Bowl defensively. But in terms of quarterback play, who was better during that era than Dan Marino? Was it Joe Montana? Yeah. But if you look at quarterbacks of all time, and you go back, again, from 1980 on, how could you not have Dan Marino on your top 5 list? He's on my top 5. So I've got Brady, Montana. Okay, got to have it. And we talk about Dan Marino. What about a current quarterback? Is Patrick Mahomes right now, today, if he stopped playing right now, if he came out and had a press conference and said, I'm not playing anymore, would he be a top 5 quarterback of all time? If Aaron Rodgers stepped up to the mic in Pittsburgh right now and said, I've decided to retire at this point in my career, is he a top 5 quarterback of all time? On my list, I have John Elway. He's a top 5 quarterback of all time. Brady, Montana, Peyton Manning, Marino, Elway. Again, Brady, and not any order. Brady, Montana, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, John Elway. My top 5 quarterbacks. Who's knocking on the door? Mahomes, Rodgers, knocking on the door. If you said, you know what, I want to replace Marino with Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, we could have a debate about this. I'd be okay with that. If you wanted to add somebody else, we could have a debate about this. But for me, all the football that I've watched, and I think that we would all have to agree that Brady and Montana must be on the list. They must be on the list. All right, again, if you're not going to have them on the list, we can't have this conversation. And then today, 2025, who's your 5th quarterback if you agree with me on the top 4? If you agree with me that it's Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, I have Jalen Hurts at number 5. Who do you have? We'd love to talk about this for a while at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. I love talking about quarterbacks because we talk about it every day. We talk about it during the season. We talk about it out of the season. If you don't have a good quarterback, you really today don't have a chance to win. And the reason for that is I think, in large part due to the rules, because you're so limited defensively now to how you play the game. You don't have to have a great quarterback to win, but you have to have a good quarterback to win. And if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not winning in the National Football League. So 2025, who are your top 5 quarterbacks? And do you agree with my top 5 quarterbacks of all time from 1980 on? Again, if I was going to open it up before that, I would have a different 5. But from 80 on, you got to go Montana, Brady, and in my opinion, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, and John Elway. And again, I don't want to hear the fact that Marino didn't win in the Super Bowl. Or, hey, again, Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl. Doug Williams won a Super Bowl. All right, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. We can stop with that nonsense, okay? You don't have to win a Super Bowl to be a great quarterback. You just don't. Dan Marino, if you watch Dan Marino and the Marx Brothers and that offense and Don Shula, everyone was talking about Dan Marino during that era. Dan Marino was must-see television. Dan Marino had a quick release, accurate, great arm. The one thing he did lack was mobility, but he didn't need mobility because of his quick release. And he also played in an era where quarterbacks didn't really run unless you were Fran Tarkenton. That's another guy, Fran Tarkenton, right? 4 Super Bowls, lost them all. MVP of the league. I watched him play for many years in person when he was the quarterback of the New York Giants. Vikings, Giants, Vikings. Fran Tarkenton, tremendous quarterback. But again, we're talking 1980 on. So I love talking about the quarterback position because in the NFL, you're not going anywhere without a good quarterback. And I want to get back to Brock Purdy for a minute because I've had this conversation with so many people. I'm amazed at those that still do not give Purdy the credit. I mean, if you look at his resume and what he's done since he became a starting quarterback for the 49ers, it's unbelievably impressive. And the reason why I think people still knock Purdy is because of where he was drafted. And I've always said this. If the draft were reversed, if Brock Purdy was taken 3rd by the 49ers instead of Trey Lance. And Trey Lance was taken where Brock Purdy was as Mr. Irrelevant at the end of the draft. Everyone will be talking about Brock Purdy as what a great pick by the 49ers, one of the best quarterbacks in football, blah, blah, blah. It is the perception that clouds people's judgment, in my opinion, when we talk about the quarterback. Again, Trey Lance, if he was taken last in the draft and Purdy was taken where he was at third, I don't think we would be having this conversation. Again, if you look at Purdy's body of work, if you look at what he's done since he's become the starting quarterback of the 49ers, it is very, very impressive. And again, I don't even think it's debatable. But yet there are those out there that do not want to give him his credit. And I firmly believe it is because of where he was drafted. Forget about where he's drafted. How come we don't have that conversation about Tom Brady or Joe Montana and where they were drafted? How come we don't have that conversation about Aaron Rodgers when he dropped in the first round? But, I mean, look at Brady. Look where he was drafted. Look at Montana. Look where he was drafted. How come Patrick Mahomes didn't go number one in the draft? But in the case of Purdy, oh, geez, the last player taken in the NFL draft, so he really can't be that good. And here's the other aspect about quarterbacks. If you do move up because you love a guy and you're wrong, it normally sets your franchise back years. Example A, New York Jets, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Chicago Bears. Example 1A-B. Look at the mistakes they've made. Trubisky, correct? Justin Fields. Look at it where their franchise is now. The Niners got very lucky when they took the wrong quarterback at number 3. They got very lucky because they drafted Brock Purdy, last pick in the draft. That's called luck. That's all that is. Because if you don't think it's luck, then how come they didn't take him in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, right? It is and was very, very lucky. So we can talk about that. 916-779-0929. Hey, do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanica will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. They are an HVAC retrofit and service specialist, and they also do new systems. And there's up to $6,000 in rebates and federal tax credits on qualifying equipment. Take advantage of the $2,000 federal tax credit before it's set to go away at the end of the year. Financing options? Yeah, no problem, including 0% interest for 18 months. Whether you're a homeowner or a business for commercial maintenance, no problem. DAS Mechanical has you covered. Just go to dasmechanical.org. That's D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, dasmechanical.org, and check out everything they can do for you, and you can book right there online. And be sure and check out all of their 5-star reviews and their best of best awards. That's dasmechanical.org for all of your needs when it comes to heating, air conditioning, maintenance, new units. They got you covered, dasmechanical.org. We'll come right back with your phone calls. Grant Napear, Fox Sports Sacramento.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now is the moment we've been waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope. Join the fight and walk to end Alzheimer's, the largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So come on, Sacramento, get out, get moving, and join the Walk to End Alzheimer's, Saturday, September 27th, 8:30 a.m. at William Land Park. Join the movement at alz.org/walk.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes
And Abe, would love the quarterback talk, man. Boy, you're bringing back memories. Johnny Unitas, man. He was my original because the Rams and Colts played in the same division back then. It was the Coastal Division. And George Allen's Rams and Don Shula's Baltimore Colts, man, they just had some battles, man. There was like 1967, both teams ended up 11-1-2, and the Colts missed the playoffs. No wild card, and the Rams got the tiebreaker because they tied them, and then they beat them in the final week. But Johnny Unitas, man, with the black high tops and the crew top. But as far as, let's get back to the present, for me, I always had Joe Montana first and then Brady, but then I started thinking, Brady, who was Brady throwing to? I'm trying to remember. So he had Randy Moss for that one year, but, Nate, I mean, and that's part of it, I feel, So I kind of have Brady slightly ahead of Joe, and I totally agree with Marino. Man, so prolific, such a quick release. I mean, he had the fastest release I've ever seen, and I just can't believe with his talent that he never made it back to the big game. That's always just something that's just shocked me. You know what I mean?
They had defense.
I mean,
they didn't have a defense that could stop the other team. That was their big problem.
Yeah. And then I also have Peyton Manning, and then I got John Elway as my fifth guy since the 80s. And then for the current crop, I have to go Jackson and Allen, even though, like you point out, and it's kind of like, unfortunate, the fact that a guy hasn't won a Super Bowl. I mean, football is the ultimate team sport. I mean, there's just,
yes, it is.
You referenced some great examples of lower, not like Hofstetler, Trent Dilfer. These guys were surrounded with great defenses and great running games and great offensive lines. The Giants, man, they pounded the ball, man. They played physical, and but that's kind of an anomaly for the most part. But it just always surprises me that in the ultimate team sport, which is really also, to me, the coaching for the football is probably affects the team's play more than any other professional sport. How do you feel like as far as coaches in football versus how they affect their team, setting up their game plan versus like a coach in basketball or coach in hockey or coach in or manager in baseball? I mean, football, you got to rely on a coach who's going to develop a system and put players around you as a quarterback to help them succeed. But
there's no question. I mean, coaching in football is, I think, of all the sports is at the top of the list. And I agree with you about Johnny Unitas. I used to love watching Johnny Unitas in person. I watched them play. Every year I watched them play growing up. And he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And anyone that was alive in that era, like both of us, we recognized we were watching greatness when you watched Johnny Unitas. I mean, he was tough as nails. Boy, was he a tough guy.
Oh, Deacon talked about in his book. He has several books, and I read it. He said he was falling and he landed awkwardly and on Johnny, and he's like laying there. He didn't get a good clean shot at him, and he's like trying to do anything to disrupt Johnny. You can't do this. He's like trying to twist his leg and twist his leg to get him off the ground. But him and Fran Tarkenton, that dude. If you ever watch old YouTube videos, he would run around and he never ran forward, Nate. He just run around in the back behind the line for like about 30 seconds sometimes. It was ridiculous.
He was the best scrambling quarterback in the history of the NFL.
The only guy I've seen that remotely reminds me of him was Russell Wilson. Because
they are similar in their scrambling. Very similar. There's no question about that. Al, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah. Take care.
I watched Fran Tarkenton play when he was the quarterback of the Giants. Now, Fran hated contact. Fran did not want to get hit. I mean, that's the one thing about Fran. You know, he was unbelievably talented, but he was soft. And his scrambling, though, as Al said, go back and just Google Fran Tarkenton and watch his running. It was unbelievable. He had a tremendous career, Fran Tarkenton. But again, Al brings up Johnny Unitas. We watched him play. I know many of you listening did not have the opportunity because you weren't alive to watch him play. And yeah, you can Google and you can look at video, but it's very difficult, even for me. You know, when people want to talk to me about athletes that played in the 50s and the 40s and before that, I don't really, it's very difficult for me to have that type, like Otto Graham. I can't talk about Otto Graham. Like I never saw Otto Graham play. I can talk about Johnny Unitas because I saw him play a lot. I mean, I can talk about Mickey Mantle because I watched them play as a kid. I can't talk about Lou Gehrig or Joe DiMaggio like I can talk about Mickey Mantle. Yeah, I know about their careers, but there's just something when you watch an individual. So that's why I put 1980 on. And I know many of you are not 45. You weren't born yet in 1980. Maybe you didn't see Joe Montana play. Maybe you didn't see John Elway play. To this day, John Elway is the greatest college quarterback that I've ever watched. When John Elway was at Stanford, I'll never forget this. I was at Bowling Green, and I remember when Stanford came in to play Ohio State at the Horseshoe, and that was a huge, huge buildup with John Elway. Oh, Pac-10, they're not going to be able to do this. They're not going to be able to do that. And I told all my fraternity brothers, you just wait. You just watch. John Elway was in college, great, and he was great in the National Football League. He could throw. He could run. He was tough. I mean, to me, he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Did you get a chance to see John Elway, or were you too young? Did you get a chance to see Joe Montana, or were you too young? That era, Dan Marino, same era, incredible. I mean, those 3 quarterbacks, unbelievable. And I will always, and I say always, because I can't predict the future, have them on my greatest quarterbacks of all time. And as far as Montana and Brady go, I don't even think that's debatable. I don't think you can debate that. You could debate Elway. You might say, well, Napes, I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Elway. We could at least have that conversation. All right, you could say, well, I think Aaron Rodgers a better quarterback than Dan Marino. Well, we could at least have the conversation. You could say, I think Patrick Mahomes better than Elway, and we could have the conversation. You could say, well, I think, when you see how he throws the ball, how he runs, how he makes big plays, how he wins big games, I could put him ahead of Marino. At least we could have that debate. You can't put him ahead of Brady, and you can't put him ahead of Montana. You just can't. Those We're talking about 1980 on. Those are the two best quarterbacks. Whether you go Brady 1 or Montana 1, they're 1-2 or 2-1, whatever you want. I don't think you can debate that. I mean, you could, but you would lose. I mean, if you're going to have a debate and you have a panel and they're going to score the debate, I don't think you could win. I don't think you could put any name ahead of Brady or ahead of Montana. So we'll talk about that at 916-779-0929. Big win for the Giants today to keep breathing as they salvage a game in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. And now they will move on and start a 4-game set tomorrow in L.A., where they are breathing barely for that wild card spot. They're going to have to play very, very well. They do get a break after the Dodgers series to have St. Louis and Colorado for the final week. But they better win a minimum of 2 games in L.A. Mets are starting to play a little bit better. Diamondbacks are ahead of them by a whisker. They're going to have a good series this weekend at Chavez Ravine. So if you want to talk about that, 916-779-0929. And again, the reason why I wanted to talk about quarterback play is because on my social media, I got asked a question about my top quarterbacks and to name them. And I'm like, well, okay, this would be a good topic for the radio show because I think you can look into this in so many different ways. Like, what do I want in my quarterback? What do I have to have? Me, Grant Napear. I need to have a quarterback that I know is not going to melt under the pressure in January. Okay, give me an example of a quarterback that you thought was great in the regular season and terrible in the postseason. Very easily, Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was maybe the best example of a really good quarterback in September, October, November, December, and a terrible quarterback in January. I never once watched the Philadelphia Eagles in a playoff game and say to myself, boy, McNabb was great today. Not one time. Not once. And I watched him play in every playoff game. Not one time did I see McNabb walk off the field and say to myself, wow, that was a hell of a performance. He never had one. But in the regular season, the guy was tremendous. In the postseason, he was just a flop. And, why did Andy Reid never win until he got to Kansas City? Well, the reason why he never won is because he had a quarterback that stunk in January. That's why. What was the knock on Andy Reid when he got to Kansas City? Oh, he's a tremendous coach, but can't win a big one. Well, guess what? Now he has a quarterback that plays very well in January and very well in February. He didn't have that in Philadelphia. It's like Eli Manning. I watched Eli Manning take every snap of every game in his NFL career. What was Eli Manning? He was an unbelievably clutch quarterback. And in the playoffs, in which the Giants won 2 Super Bowls, both against New England, the Giants only had 1 home game and all the other games were on the road. And Eli Manning was not good in all of the games. He was great. Not good, great. See, I want that in my quarterback. I want to know when January gets here, when I'm in the playoffs, that my quarterback is good enough to get me to February. And that is the reason why there are so many naysayers surrounding Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar Jackson, in the biggest of games that he's ever played in, has not performed to the level that he's capable of. So is this a Donovan McNabb situation, or is there more to it? Why is it that some quarterbacks, just like some athletes in other sports, why do we talk about great players in October in baseball that are so-so in the regular season? Why is Robert Ory's nickname Big Shot Bob? Robert Ory wasn't a great regular season player, but Robert Ory was a great postseason player who always made the big shot, whether it was in Houston, the Lakers, right? Detroit. The guy made big shots. You could count on him to make the big shot. Mike Bibby. You could count on Mike Bibby to make the big shot. You wanted the ball to be in the hands of Mike Bibby if you were a fan of the Sacramento Kings. Would you rather have the ball in the hands of Chris Webber or Mike Bibby? Like, it's not even close. Like, you wouldn't even think twice about that. If you're setting up a play that you have to win the game, are you giving the ball to Webber or are you giving the ball to Bibby? I mean, you wouldn't even think twice about it if you're Rick Adelman. You're getting the ball to Mike Bibby. There are certain players that live for the moment and certain players that get the job done in the biggest of moments And then there are others that melt and crumble under the pressure. We see it all the time. Now, if it happens once, I don't really make too much out of it. If it happens year after year after year, like in the case of Lamar Jackson, I have to ask myself, well, gee, do they have a good defense? Yes. Are they well coached? Yes. Do they have good skill people? Yes. Do they have a good running game? Yes. So why haven't they been able to win an AFC championship game? Because in the biggest of the games, Jackson has not played like the MVP that we see during the regular season. So if you're asking me, give me a quarterback that when the calendar hits January, I don't have to worry about. That's not Donovan McNabb. I can tell you that right now. Give me a guy who's good in the regular season and great in the postseason. That was Eli Manning. I wouldn't say Eli Manning was great in the regular season. He was good. In the postseason, he was great. Look at Jeff Hostetler. You know, me being a Giants fan, and if you're a Raiders fan, think about what Jeff Hostetler did in big games, much more so than during the regular season. I mean, when he took over for the Giants in the second Super Bowl that they won, where they beat New England, when they beat Buffalo in Tampa, he was great. He was great. Sims got hurt in December. Hostetler came in, beat the 49ers at the stick, had some huge plays, was tremendous in the Super Bowl against Buffalo, the game in Tampa. Give me a guy like that. Give me the guy that can play with the pressure on top of his shoulders. That's what I'm looking for at quarterback in the National Football League. Hey, football. Yes, love talking about it. And I want to tell you about your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's how you can do it. Very simple. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats from breakout rookies to elite quarterbacks, and you can unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. Just go to your DraftKings Pick 6 app and take a look at a quarterback's total or a running back's total. Are you going more or less? And then here's the bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Your phone calls when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports Traffic as we take our first look at the roadways for this Wednesday afternoon. You're going to find the left lane off-ramp blocked of US 50 at 16th Street. Give yourself a couple of extra minutes to work your way through that. Also US 50 westbound and eastbound, anywhere from about 65th Street out to I-5. You're dealing with some heavy rush hour delays through there. And we got an object on the roadway at Highway 99 northbound at Dillard Road. Give yourself about 20 extra minutes. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
This National Recovery Month Minute is brought to you by ChooseChangeCA.org. So many things, big and little, make you uniquely you. Your hobbies, dreams, career, family, and more. Addiction to drugs, including opioids and stimulants, can strip these away from you. This National Recovery Month, recover your life. Choose treatment for drug addiction and get back to what matters most. Treatment is available in many forms. Through primary care doctor, licensed narcotic treatment programs, outpatient treatment programs, licensed residential facilities, and even virtual care. Help is within reach. You can recover. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at ChooseChangeCA.org. That's ChooseChangeCA.org. That's ChooseChangeCA.org. Brought to you by ChooseChangeCA.org. Recover you.
How bad as Cameron Cade Martin.
Sports fans, finally a horror film with a football twist. Check out Him, the IMAX experience, playing this week at the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento.
In this game, violence is rewarded, so learn to enjoy it.
Greatness demands sacrifice. The next great quarterback descends into a world of terror and trains into something darker. The best theater to experience Him is on the Esquire IMAX Theater 6-story screen. Grab your reserved seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Hey, come on in.
Hi, Jack, in our subdivision?
Yeah, I saw your Suburban out front, so I thought I'd see how your kitchen and bath remodel was going.
We're delayed.
Oh, watch your step.
Waiting on subs.
Contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't go with Kitchen Mart?
No, why?
Nothing. That's just why we went with Kitchen Mart. They don't use subs. No subs?
No subs?
Yeah, with the exception of something very specialized, Kitchen Mart does everything in-house so they can finish on time and on budget. So your cabinets, countertops, plumbing, drywall, electric, and your contractor pulled permits, right? That's the law.
Was he supposed to?
You mean supposed to?
What'd I say?
Sub.
Sub?
Sub.
Remodeling your kitchen or bath? 20,000 ecstatic customers agree. No subs means Kitchen Mart's in-house designers, craftsmen, and installers do it right and finish on time and on budget. Kitchen Mart, with 2 showrooms in Sacramento and Rockland. Call 362-7080 or go to kitchenmart.net for a free home appointment.
Kitchen and bath. No one does it better than Kitchen Mart.
The most trusted name in kitchen and bath remodeling since 1976.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Jannard, TV host and restaurateur. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on.
I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'm going a little bit off topic. I know you're talking about NFL, but I was listening to the show yesterday, and you mentioned that De'Aaron Fox isn't a star, correct?
Not an all-star.
How so?
He's only been an all-star one time in his 8-year career, and he was added on because of an injury. He didn't even make the all-star team. He was added on, so I can't consider him. Everyone calls him a star. Well, he's not a star, in my opinion. I know you're a huge De'Aaron Fox fan, but, I mean, if he's such a big star, how come he's only been on the All-Star once and he was added on because of an injury to Steph Curry?
Because he played in Sacramento, and Sacramento constantly gets disrespected by those people that vote for the All-Stars.
Well, DeMarcus Cousins was an All-Star. DeMarcus Cousins was an All-Star several times when he was in Sacramento. I mean, Mitch Richmond, when the Kings stunk, was an All-Star when he was in Sacramento. I mean, I don't know about that.
I just think that they're more in love with the guards nowadays than back when Boogie was playing, and the centers were different. There was quite a few to choose from. And I just feel like De'Aaron Fox, first of all, that year that he made it, he should have been an All-Star. And there was also other seasons where he deserved to have an All-Star, both him and Sabonis. And he got.
All right, let me ask you this. Ask you this. He plays the most important position in the NBA. Would you agree with that? Point guard?
Yep.
Okay. How many star point guards can you name that in an 8-year period of time have only been in one playoff series and only won 3 playoff games?
All right. Fair enough. But you got to tell him, is it all his fault? I mean, think about this. When he got to Sacramento, he said that he's going to bring the Sacramento Kings to the playoffs. And he did that. He was the best player on that team. Sabonis was not better than him because even in the playoff series, he stepped up to the moment big time. I'll tell you one thing. When you're a player that steps up when the lights are bright, which Fox has been doing, and he has them, and he's proven that in a crazy environment, which Sacramento, I love the fans just like you do. He delivered in that playoff series, gave it everything he can.
Yes, he did.
That's big time. And not only that, we talk about even what you like in NFL players, right? People that are going to step up in the big moments. De'Aaron Fox not only did that in the playoffs, but he won a clutch player of the year. I know that's a new award, but at the end of the day, the proof was in the pudding. This guy delivered time and time again in the fourth quarter. He has the franchise record in points. He also was a steals leader, so he's playing on the defensive side of the ball as well. He won steals in 2024, I believe. This dude was an all-star for Sacramento, and it's unfortunate that it didn't work out long term. But you know, I disagree with you respectfully, man. I think De'Aaron Fox is a star, and I'm still upset that he didn't finish his whole career in Sacramento.
Well, just for the record, I like De'Aaron Fox. He's a tremendous person, and I'm not wishing him any harm in San Antonio. I'm not wishing him like he doesn't succeed. I like the guy. I've always liked him. I've always enjoyed talking to him. I've loved calling his games and watching him because he's so exciting. But I think he has regressed since the series that you're talking about with the Warriors. From that point forward, to me, he hasn't been the same player. And there's something else I don't like about De'Aaron, now that I'm talking about all of the things I do like about him. There were times when he got into a bad funk mentally where he blew off the media for 3 weeks, was moping. At times would go on the court, moping, didn't look like he wanted to be on the floor. That bothered me. I don't want to see that in my star player, as you call it, or my best player. And there were too many times that not only me, but Sacramento fans would call us up on our postgame show on our YouTube channel during the podcast and say the same thing. That bothered me, Nando. I don't like that.
Yeah, I get that. I respect that. But to me, it's like there has to be a reason why. Is it because of ownership or what? Because I mean, we both know it. I mean, the Sacramento Kings owner gets in the way of a lot of things. Like, did the Sacramento Kings honestly put a good enough foundation around De'Aaron Fox to want to stay here with his family, having a newborn kid for the rest of his career? He wanted happiness at the end of the day. And I feel like if the owner had built a team good enough around De'Aaron Fox to support him in those big moments, that he was ready to elevate his game, I feel like we'd be talking a whole different scenario here, respectfully.
Well, they tried. They traded Tyrese Halliburton to give him an all-star down low. Sabonis at that period of time was a multi-time all-star. They brought in DeMar DeRozan, to try to. It just didn't work. So I think they tried. It just didn't work. Nando, good call, man. I appreciate it very much. Take care.
All right,
Yep, you too, buddy. Hey, Rhino, good topic from Nando. And before that, I was talking about quarterbacks, but I want to get your take on what Nando said.
Yeah, I think there's a partial truth to that about Sacramento not building around him properly, but I need a guy that's going to be good in the bad moments too, Grant. After the Detroit game, the way that he approached it with the media, you just can't have that. He apologized the next morning to his teammates. I just like you, there was a wall that he hit after the playoff year in 22-23, and I don't think it was anything system-wise that stopped it. I thought it was De'Aaron that stopped himself.
All right, my top 5 quarterbacks in 2025, would you take one of those quarterbacks out and substitute another current quarterback with my top 5 if I'm talking about Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, and Hurts?
Grant, I can't even start to consider that because of your ridiculous rule about 1980. I had my list right here, ready. Norm Van Brocklin, Bobby Lane, Napes, and look, now it's out the window. It's gone.
I love it.
Probably not. I think that's how I would see it as well. I do want to ask you or throw a couple names in there. The first would be Michael Vick, simply for this reason. And we talk about it with Steph Curry. Steph Curry changed the point guard position. In many ways, he changed 2 positions without playing one of them. Michael Vick was the first, besides Randall Cunningham, of the smaller running quarterbacks that opened the door for some of the great ones that we know now.
I can't put Michael Vick in that category, and he's not even close to me in that category. Only played in, I believe, 6 playoff games. He only won 2. He didn't play well in the playoffs like he did during the regular season. He's not even. He wouldn't even be in my top 10.
Well,
he wouldn't even be in my top 15.
I'm speaking more of importance to the position as we see it today.
Yes, but so was Randall Cunningham when he came into the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, but I'm not talking about the importance to the position because there were different errors and the game changes because of rule changes and new offensive schemes. Like, for instance, when I was watching the NFL, the shotgun didn't exist. Every snap was taken under center, right? Now the quarterbacks are in the gun. It's 4th and 1, and they're in the gun. They're not under center. So the game has changed greatly.
Fair enough. And where would you rank these guys? Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Who's on top of those two?
Aaron Rodgers, to me, is a better quarterback than Favre was. I can't really pick Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre way too often threw the ball up for grabs. I thought his reckless play at times is something that I have not seen from Aaron Rodgers. Should Brett Favre be in the Hall of Fame? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Can I put him ahead of Rodgers? I can't. Rodgers is a better quarterback. If I was starting a team and you told me you want Rodgers in your prime or Favre in your prime, I'm taking Rodgers. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got to ride Rodgers. And in many ways, they've had similar career paths with multiple stops after Green Bay. But just, I don't know that I've seen somebody that puts the ball on a string like he can when he is in that zone.
Well, not only that, I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback throw the ball better on the run, whether he's running to his left or the right, than Rodgers in the history of the NFL.
Yep, and he's tough as nails. And he's one guy that would not want the Hail Mary pass removed from his stats. Holy.
You're right about that. All right, buddy. Yeah.
All right, last one. I'm going to go to the chat here. A lot of people bringing up Jim Kelly's name in the 1980s to current list. Where do you see that?
I love Jim Kelly, but to me, he was borderline Hall of Fame, not one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. He's not a top 10 quarterback of all time, but he'd probably be top 15. So he's not on my list, and I can't even consider him.
There's your answer, chat.
And I listen, I watched Jim Kelly play a lot. Very, very good quarterback, but I can't put him top 5. Appreciate that. Hey, I want to tell you about Village Financial Group, and I have known the broker owner, Spencer Grimmenstein, for 25 years. That's when he began his family-owned business. And guess what? Rates have come down again. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it by contacting Spencer or texting Spencer. Send him a text, 916-805-4868. Whether it's a home equity line of credit, buying or selling a home, Spencer's a very creative financing specialist. And remember this, he has access to private money. And if you go to Village Financial Group's website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Be sure and call 916-805-4868 for the investor special. He's happy with a text too. Again, call right now because it makes sense to call Spence or text at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Don't forget, in a couple of moments, Tom Brenneman, going to check in on his life 5 years after it was completely turned upside down because of a homophobic slur over a hot mic when he was doing a Cincinnati Reds game. He's in Cincinnati. He's doing very well, but I want him to talk about it. And that's going to be coming up in a couple of moments. And again, if you want to add on in the next hour about our quarterback conversation, I am happy to do that. And I like all the messages on our YouTube channel, Fox Sports Sacramento. So you can stream the show right there. I mean, I like reading your comments. And you don't have to agree with me. I don't want everyone to agree with me. If you think Jim Kelly's a top 5 quarterback, I'm okay with that. But I don't. He's not on my list as a top 5 quarterback. He's just not. Good? Yep. Very good? Yep. Top 5? No. And I also appreciate the call by Nando about Fox. But he's not, again, I have to go by what I have. He's got 3 playoff wins in 8 years, and he was an all-star once because he was added on to the team. Tom Brenneman, next. I think you're going to really enjoy that conversation right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Still got a couple of incidents out there. One is on the Cap City Freeway eastbound, right at Exposition Boulevard, right lane blocked off with that injury crash. Also, US 50 westbound at 16th Street, right lane blocked off there too, causing all sorts of delays back to about Howe Avenue. Give yourself about 25 extra minutes to work your way through there. I-5 northbound and southbound still very sluggish through the Sacramento area. I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now is the moment we've been waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope. Join the fight and walk to end Alzheimer's, the largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So come on, Sacramento, get out, get moving, and join the Walk to End Alzheimer's, Saturday, September 27th, 8:30 a.m. at William Land Park. Join the movement at alz.org/walk.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Who says Mondays have to be boring? At Bennett's, Mondays are made for wine and dine. For just $65, enjoy 2 full entrees, 2 salads, and a bottle of wine. Perfect for date night or dinner with a friend. That's a complete dinner for 2 with wine. Treat yourself to our crave-worthy favorites, like our prawn linguine or short rib with mashed potatoes. Join us this Monday in Roseville, Rockland, or Sacramento. Reserve now at bennettsrestaurants.com. Make Monday the new fun day at Bennett's.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed. Nearly 60% earn 6-figure incomes. 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Hour number 2, and I am very excited to welcome my next guest. He has done so much in his broadcasting career: Major League Baseball, the NFL, college basketball, college football. 5 years ago, Tom Brenneman had his life turned upside down, and I wanted to have him come on the show to tell me how things are here in 2025. Somebody that I have a lot of respect for, and just a great voice, a tremendous sportscaster, Tom Brenneman. Tom, it's Grant Napear. How are you?
Grant, been a while, man. It's nice to hear your voice, and I'm so excited for you and being back in Sacramento. And, man, thank God. I'm really, really, really excited for you.
Tom, I really appreciate that. How has your life changed in 5 years? What's your life and career like now compared to when it was turned upside down in 2020?
Well, I mean, look, flying high would be how I would describe it back in those days for a long, long time. I've been at Fox for 25 years doing the NFL, as you mentioned, college football, some national championship games, baseball, many, many years of playoffs, league championship series, NFL every week, NFL playoffs, in addition to doing, the Cincinnati Reds games on television. And so, and Grant, as you know, and all the things that come along with that, whether it's commercial endorsements or a free car or, all those kinds of things that, I was guilty as charged of taking it all for granted, to be honest with you. And, look, I screwed up. I mean, locker room talk in a commercial break. I said a highly offensive word that hurt and offended a lot of people. It wound up going out over the air. How that happened, I have no idea. I've never looked into how it happened, why it happened. Was anybody responsible for it happening? Because I'm the one that had to take the ownership of it, and I was the one who said it. So, along came the consequences. And within, 12 hours after that had happened on the air, I was fired from everything. And so, I think in those times, and it was roughly around the same time, the calendar year anyway, where, you had the same thing basically happen to you. Although, what you said, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you, I've said this to other people. What you said, in my opinion, is it's one of the most, it's pure lunacy to have happened to you what happened to you. My situation, it was what it was. And so, I kept telling my wife over and over, I'm like, you know what? There's going to be something really good that comes about from this. And I don't know if I was tricking myself. I don't know if it's your faith and truly believing that there's a plan as to why this happened, which I very much do believe and did believe that at the time. The next 4 years, I got to do things with my two kids who were in high school that I would have missed 90% of it. Whether it was, I'd have been able to get off for a high school graduation, or our son playing in state championship lacrosse games where he was a phenomenal goalie, and our daughter and all the stuff that she was doing as well. I'd have missed 90% of that stuff, and I got to do every single bit of it. So, when you make good money for a long time, Grant, it wasn't like we were going to have to sell our house. This wasn't the end of the world. Do I wish it didn't happen? Of course I wish it didn't happen. But you know what? At the end of the day, I could sit around and be angry. I'm sure you went through so many of the same emotions. You're mad, you're upset, you're angry. Why me? Blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, after a certain amount of time, I just realized this isn't doing me any good at all. So, you wait 4 years, and you hope and pray that somebody will at least give you a second chance. And the people at CW, they did when they offered me the chance last year to do the Atlantic Coast Conference football and basketball package that they have. And so I'm eternally grateful for those people for saying, you know what? We think the guy has a chance to maybe do a good job for us, and we're going to give him a shot.
In my case, the thing that's the most frustrating is I can never get away from 2020. Whenever I do a national interview, local interview, whatever the case may be, 2020 always comes up. Is it hard for you to go back and relive that when I ask the question? And I know whenever anybody else interviews you, it's a topic of conversation. Is that hard for you, Tom?
No, not one single bit. The only thing that has bothered me, because look, Grant, you and I both know, even if neither one of these things had happened to you or me, in the roles which we had and the roles which we currently have, you're never going to make everyone happy. So I can go out there, as I tried to do, and tried to listen to people in the LGBTQ community about the word that I used, what that word means to them, the pain that word has brought to them during their lives, whether as teenagers or into adulthood, whatever the case may be. I know what I've tried to do. The people in that community that have been kind enough to let me come in and listen and be around them and get to know them, I think they feel that I've tried to, if there is such a thing, right my wrong or try to learn and try to grow and try to be a little bit better. But no matter what I do, there is going to be a segment of society that one of two things that they're only going to remember about Tom Brenneman, if anybody ever does remember Tom Brenneman, is A, the word I used, and then B, what became really the biggest part of this whole thing is the whole Castellanos meme thing. I mean, that's the thing that never goes away for me is, and that's the only thing that maybe through all of it bothers me. And I don't want you to misunderstand or anybody else to misunderstand. What I said, the word I said bothers me a lot. But as time has moved by, I have found that there are people that have given me grace and forgiven me. And I've finally been able to forgive myself. God's forgiven me. I don't have a homophobic drop of blood in my body, and I never have. And there are gay people that have known me since I was in high school that would tell you the exact same thing. So I know who I am. I know what I said, but I know who I am. The part that bothers me is that, when people all the time bring up the Castellanos thing, calling a home run while I'm trying to apologize. And I just think and maybe people don't give a damn. In fact, I'm sure they don't give a damn because there's just so many people out there that no matter what, they want to criticize or hate or make fun of other people or whatever it might be. I mean, I was in the middle of knowing that my career was probably going to go off the rails. I'm in the middle of an apology. I go back to what I'm supposed to be doing in that job that I had done for 31 years, and that's call a home run because you're supposed to, tell the people
Yes.
what's going on in the game. That's my job. And, so for people now to always come back to that thing, I'm just like, that moment in time is where another human being, and I would feel this way about you, I'd feel this way about any of your listeners if they were going through that in that moment in time of their life. That is a moment in time. And Castellanos' wife has shared this exact same sentiment, is why do you guys keep doing this? A guy lost his career in the middle of this. And of course, they'll come back and say, oh, well, the no good SOB was homophobic anyway, so who cares? So, end of the day, what are you going to do? Right?
And now you're doing morning radio in Cincinnati. You're doing, college football and college basketball. Talk about doing the morning show because that's a life change. Getting up. At what time do you get up now? 2 in the morning?
I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and I go on the air at 5 o'clock. I only live about 10 minutes from the station, so it's WLW in Cincinnati, which is a legendary brand radio station in the history of America, and it's a news talk station. And but it also has the rights. We have the rights to all the Reds games, all the Bengals games. But I'm not doing a sports talk show. I'm doing, as you mentioned, morning drive. So, it is. You talk about an old dog learning new tricks. I've always thought that. I've always found that one of my real hobbies is following politics. I'm just mesmerized by politics, and so you got to stay up on politics, nationally or internationally, but you got to know what's going on in your city, what's going on in City Hall. What about some of the festivals that are happening on weekends? What about health news? There's a new study that comes out about the likelihood of women getting breast cancer or, fertility questions. A study just came out. So, rather than knowing what Joey Votto hit against left-handed pitching, now right. I'm trying to learn about something that's a little bit different, and I found it to be very gratifying and very fascinating.
We are both Mid-American Conference alums. I went to Bowling Green. You went to OU.
Yep.
I'll never forget the time that I was announcing a football game in Athens on Halloween, and my analyst talked me into staying overnight for Halloween. And so my question is, I only did it once. How do you survive that for 4 years? There's nothing in the world like Halloween in Athens. It's the most unbelievable experience I've ever had.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They've done everything they can to try and get rid of it. And it's not what it used to be, that's for sure. But back in the day that you're talking about, that's when it was really rolling, man. And it was
Oh my gosh.
It was a fun weekend. It was fun.
It was fun to say the least. I'll never forget Halloween night. I think it was like 78 or 79. I'll never forget that.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had it really going in. Yeah.
I know what your life's been like with all of the things you've done nationally and in Cincinnati, particularly your hometown. Take me back to your childhood. What was it like being the son where your father, and I think your father is one of the best baseball announcers to ever live, Marty Brennaman. What was it like with your dad? Everybody knew him, the great voice of the Cincinnati Reds, the Big Red Machine, and all those years past that. I mean, that had to be unbelievable.
Well, the thing about it, Grant, is by the time we moved to Cincinnati, and we were living in Virginia Beach, Virginia, he was broadcasting AAA baseball games and the old ABA, if you remember that. A lot of people out there do. And so when we moved to Cincinnati, I'm in the 6th grade, and he's this brand new guy. Al Michaels had preceded him in that job. Al decided to leave Cincinnati to go to the San Francisco Giants. And so, when you get there at that age, I'm 11 years old, whatever it was, when we move in. And I mean, the first day we went to spring training in Tampa, Florida, back when the Reds used to train in Tampa. I walk in the locker room with my dad, and the first 4 people I met were Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Tony Perez. And,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, and his fate would have it. I mean, you talk about crazy life, right? So fast forward roughly about 12 years later, I'm announcing the Reds games on television with Johnny Bench and Pete Rose as the manager.
Wow.
I mean, you can't.
Wow.
That story would never sell even in L.A., right? But anyway, my once I got into high school, it was only then towards the end of high school where my dad's popularity really started to pick up. I mean, Cincinnati's a very provincial town. You got to win them over here, like a lot of other towns. But here in the Midwest, you got to really win them over. And so by the time he had done that, my parents had split up. We weren't living very far away from him, but my sister and I were living with my mom. I wasn't around him much at all. We had a great relationship. I just wasn't around him much. And now I go to college. Well, by then he had been the announcer of the team for, let's say 10 years. And now his popularity really started to grow. A lot of people recognizing his work. But look, I still got to go places and meet people and see things because of being his kid. That, man, I mean, most kids only dream about it. I used to go to ball games almost every night. Loved every second of it. They had great teams, great players, great personalities. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. It was awesome.
This is subjective, but do you consider that era of baseball in Cincinnati, the Big Red Machine, Sparky as the manager, the greatest team of all time?
Well, I mean, I didn't see, Grant, they talk about the 27 Yankees and all that kind of thing. I don't know anything
Right.
about that. I know who those players are. It would just be hard to believe for me that there would be a team, regardless of who it is. And look, there are people that know a lot more about this stuff than I do, so I'm not going to sit here and try and sound like I'm an expert. All I'm saying is I would find it very hard to believe that any team in the history of the game could play that team in a 7-game series and beat that team 4 times in 7 games.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people say, oh, they didn't have the pitching. Their team ERA that year was like 3.2. I mean, it wasn't like they were going out bludgeoning people every night. The interesting thing about those teams is some of the things that went on, and you talk about stars willing to do things that we never ask people to do in sports, especially baseball, anymore. And that is, 75, they start out the season and they're not playing well at all. They're not hitting. and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So they go to Pete Rose and they say, hey, Pete, and I mean, you're talking about truly one of the great stars of the game at this point in time, maybe the biggest single name in the sport at the time. And they say to him, hey, Pete, could you move from left field to third base? We got this guy, George Foster, that we got in this trade from San Francisco, and we need his bat. We want to move him up here and play left field. Pete's like, no problem. He's out there the next day, ball's banging off his chest. He had been an infielder, second baseman early in his career, but he had moved to the outfield. So, the way that whole thing came together, and then, they failed a couple of times in 70 and 72 in the World Series. They get beat by Baltimore. The A's get them in 72. And they make the trade. They go get Joe Morgan. They trade away a couple of the big stars that they have on their team in Lee May and Tommy Helms. They get Jack Billingham, and now all of a sudden, this group comes together. And man, when you just look at a picture, they call them the Great Eight. When you just look at a picture of those guys,
unbelievable.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Incredible.
Because people forget. I mean, a guy like Davey Concepcion today, I mean, he'd be the best shortstop in the game. I mean,
By
the
far.
way he wouldn't have the thunder in his bat that maybe some of these other younger guys do. But I mean, he's hitting 280 every year. He's stealing bases. He's winning Gold Gloves. Guy won 10, 11, whatever it was. Had over 2,800 career hits. And he's a total afterthought on that team.
Talking with Tom Brenneman right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Final thing for you. There's nothing like broadcasting a live game. Take me back to last year, your first game, college. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you were in the Pacific Northwest. What was the emotions like going to the stadium that day, walking into the booth, saying, wow, I'm back. I'm doing, what I love the most?
I'm just so grateful, just so grateful to have a chance again. And there are a lot of people that never get the chance. And so I just remember going to flying out there, had never been to Corvallis before. Beautiful town. Weather was great. People were really nice. Coaches at Oregon State were fantastic. And, I just remember I walked, because it was only about 1.25 miles or something from the hotel to the stadium there. And so I walked by myself. And I just, as I'm walking and there's people, it's a college campus, the whole vibe of a football game. And I'm just looking around on this beautiful day. And I just said, God, I can't thank you enough. I just hope I can go out there and get through this. And as we got very close to the start of the game, got emotional for sure. Just like, man, God, thank you. I'm just, because I really didn't think that. I thought maybe somebody would come around and give me a shot. But after 4 years, it's one thing if it's, you got a year out. Okay, maybe you had 2 years out. Well, when you get to 2 years and you get to 3 years, Grant, exactly what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
You start getting to 3 years, 4 years, 4.5 years.
Yeah, they forget about you.
And man, there's nobody calling. I mean, nobody. And so for it to happen, you're just so thankful and grateful. And I told the guys at CW, they told me, they said, man, we hope you can come on, do great, and that Fox will hire you back or NBC will hire you, whoever it is. I said, fellas, as long as you have a package that I can do here, I am never, ever, ever leaving this place.
Loyalty.
Because you gave me a chance when nobody would even take my phone call.
Loyalty. Number one on my list, loyalty.
Amen.
I'm so happy you said that.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen is right. Tom,
yeah.
So much respect for you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and reliving some great moments with the Big Red Machine. I wish you nothing but the best. Safe travels this season, and let's do it again. Thanks very much.
Anytime, Grant, man. You and I go way, way, way
Yep.
back when the Diamondbacks and the Giants were going
Yep.
at it, and I've always been a huge fan of yours. And you and I have found a way to stay in touch from time to time during this journey for both of us. And man, I from the bottom of my heart, and I know I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say again and at the end, I'm just so excited for you to be back right where you belong, man.
I appreciate you, Tom. Have a good night. And good
Take
luck
care,
sleeping.
Grant.
You got to
Be
get
well.
up in a couple hours.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to remind me.
Take care, buddy.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
What a great conversation. What a great conversation with Tom Brenneman. Your reaction when we come back. Grant Napear, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. We're still dealing with a couple of issues. US 50 westbound at 16th Street. Right lane remains blocked off with that injury accident, and you're going to start hitting those brakes right on the approach to the Howe Avenue entrance and ride those all the way through the I-5 interchange. Give yourself that extra time to work your way through there. Speaking of I-5, northbound, southbound, top of the town freeway down to about Sutterville Road, dealing with heavy rush hour delays. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for 18 months. Again, check out dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Their awesome reviews, their awards. Can't go wrong at dasmechanical.org.
Downtown Ford of Sacramento has been in business since 1911. And as the oldest Ford dealership in California, we've provided cars and trucks for generations of Sacramento families. And you may not know it, but Downtown Ford provides the emergency vehicles for just about every law enforcement agency in the Sacramento region. Providing vehicles for emergency responders is a tradition of service we're truly proud of. And today,
Move to the network. He would stay where he is because of loyalty. I love that. What do you think of that interview? 916-779-0929. 916-779-0929. Rhino, that was heavy stuff, huh?
Yeah, quite the insight. You feel like you went through it with him. And for me, Napes, it really is two different learning lessons there. It's first taking ownability and what you said, loyalty, but also the second part of it was the social media aspect that he spoke to. You know, he who cast the first stone, right? All of us have said things at times that we wish we could have taken back, but with social media, things explode. And you've talked about it on the show. Other guests have talked about it on the show. It's just incredible. It's incredible he got a second chance.
And I'm very happy for him. And this was before your time, but that Cincinnati Reds team in the 70s, nicknamed the Big Red Machine, when he mentions the players on that team, the would-be Hall of Famers, what an incredible team. I mean, can you imagine as a kid walking in to the Reds clubhouse and those are the first 4 players that you meet and see? I mean, that's unbelievable.
No, and especially it's interesting as you've had more broadcasters on since you've come back here on Fox Sports Sacramento to hear how they didn't see their parents in that same light. Tom talked about how it wasn't until the latter years that he saw his dad catching traction. And so it's just a very genuine experience, right? As a little kid, it's dad. Oh my gosh, that's Pete Rose.
You know, it's interesting you say that because my 2 boys grew up at Arco Arena around the Kings, particularly when they started to be very good. They were born, just for reference, in 96 and 98. And they both were at Arco as infants, to be honest with you. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
And grew up knowing the Kings players on a first name basis, and they knew them on a first name basis. Whenever the players would see them, Trent and Chase, they would high five them. They would pick them up and put them over their shoulders, particularly Vladdy Divac and Chris Webber. Chris was phenomenal with young people, maybe as good as any athlete I've seen with the young kids. But they knew everyone. They knew that they didn't know what they were dealing with. Obviously, they weren't old enough to understand the magnitude of what they were doing. And I don't know if they really realized that until they were in high school, to be honest with you. It was like everyday normal life to them. They didn't really think anything more than that.
It very well could have been. I mean, goes back to what we talked about earlier this week. You don't know a bad seat when it's your first seat.
And the worst part about that was when they would come home during the holidays and go, Dad, can you get so-and-so his shirt signed for Christmas or a hat? I'm like, oh my God. And this is when the Kings were winning 50 and 60 games.
Yeah.
And everyone's hitting up the Kings, all the players. And I hated doing that. And so sometimes I would have to go, hey, I'm really, really sorry to ask you. Could you please sign this? I hated doing that.
And make that out to Grant, please.
Huh?
Can you make that out to Grant, please?
So those were the days, man, the early 2000s, when people were just doing anything to get tickets and to get any merchandise signed. And that was when the Kings were the darlings of the NBA. My, how things have changed, huh?
Very much so. Grant, I still got 15 pounds on me from the fast food joints that sold the bobbleheads at the grocery stores to get the T-shirts.
Oh, my gosh, the good old days. Well, we'll see if those days will come back. Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon, but you just wait and see. And training camp's going to open here before the end of the month, and we'll be talking a lot of Kings, and we'll be moving forward with that. We're having a good conversation today, Rhino, talking about quarterbacks. And I saw on the chat line for the folks that are streaming the show over on YouTube, on our Fox Sports Sacramento YouTube page, they wanted me to give you my top 5 point guards of all time. That to me is much easier than top 5 quarterbacks, because to me, you got to have Magic Johnson on there. You have to have Isaiah Thomas on there. You have to have John Stockton on there. You have to have Steph Curry on there. And to me, Oscar Robertson. I mean, like, those 5 guys jump right off the page at me. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone else, but those 5 just jump right off the page at me. I mean, I'm thinking, who would you remove from that list of 5 great point guards, right? I mean, and there are a lot of great point guards in the game, but I think John Stockton has to be on that list. Magic is number 1. Isaiah Thomas has to be on that list. Steph Curry has to be on that list. And how can you not include Oscar Robertson averaging a triple-double, right, from the point guard position?
What about LeBron James?
Well, what's LeBron James' natural position? I have him more as a small forward than a point guard.
Jerry says he can play all 5.
I understand, but what's his natural position? Coming out of high school, he didn't play point guard for the Cavaliers, correct? So, like, what? So, yes, he could be an all-star. Magic Johnson, as Jerry has said, could be an all-star at all 5 positions. So if you said that LeBron was a point guard, yeah, I would have him on the list, but I don't consider him a point guard.
Fair enough. I think Stockton, absolutely. Do you give any traction? I know he hasn't won a title, but Chris Paul, Grant?
I can't give Chris Paul because of his play in the postseason, just like I could never put James Harden on any list of great players because in the latter part of April and May, the guy melted, so he would never be on my list.
Where do you think Magic would be had he played a full career, 5 years less than LeBron?
Well, I still think Magic's one of the greatest players of all time, regardless of his career being cut short. I think when you look at the totality of NBA players in any generation, and you talk about greatest players of all time, Magic Johnson's high up on the list.
Has to be. I agree. 5 NBA championships, 3.
I mean, would he
MVPs.
be more than Michael Jordan? I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, maybe, but I mean, Magic. I was so blessed, and I feel so fortunate to have announced games that Magic Johnson was playing in. He was unbelievable to watch.
The league needed him at that time. It was just such a Jerry Buss, when he bought the Lakers, was not sure if the NBA was still going to be in business as it was. As you lay out these names, there's such unique stories behind them. But Steph Curry, we talk about changing the position. It's almost like a timeline of point guards that changed the position if you looked at the evolution of it.
Not only did he change the game and the way the game was played, but he also won and was also so clutch in the playoff runs that the Golden State Warriors had. Now, they had a deep team with Draymond, Clay for 1 year when they won the championship, KD, but they had a good bench. I mean, they had Andre Iguodala. They were very well coached. They had everything that they needed. But Steph Curry, I mean, there weren't a lot of times that you would watch the Warriors in the playoffs and criticize Steph Curry.
No, always showed up. Always showed up.
And so I always talk about, okay, he was great in the regular season, but he was great in the postseason. Like, I'd rather have great in the postseason and good in the regular season if you told me I can't have both. Give me a player that in the biggest, that's why, I mean, James Harden, if you're going to look at James Harden objectively, we would have to agree that he has been a great regular season player for most of his career. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely.
Okay, if we analyze James Harden's career in the postseason, we would give him a letter grade, probably of an F.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd have to. I mean, what's the last 2 games that he's played in the postseason? The last 2 game 7s, I believe, both under 10 points.
Terrible.
In each game. Not
a
good.
no-show.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't have your best player be a no-show in the biggest of games. You just can't. And that's my issue with Lamar Jackson. No, I wouldn't say he's been a no-show, but his interceptions, his lack of reading defenses in crucial situations in the biggest of playoff games, not making a routine throw. Like, I can't ignore that. And once you get a sample size that's more than a year and it's more than 2 years, well, then all of a sudden you have to ask yourself, is this a pattern? Is this the individual? Or are there some underlying reasons that maybe we're not talking about that has made him unsuccessful in the playoffs? Let's talk about it. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. Again, my thanks to Tom Brenneman. I just love that conversation. And we've got a lot of good guests coming up. Don't forget, tomorrow, we've got our football segment at 4 o'clock with Chris Landry from LandryFootball.com. On Friday, we're going to get you ready for the football weekend. Next week, we've got Ryder Cup. Steve Sands from NBC Sports, the Golf Channel, is going to come on with me. I'm looking at some of the comments on the chat line. Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, they would be in the conversation. I don't know if I could put either of them ahead of the 5 that I just named, but we could certainly have a conversation about it. I don't think there's any doubt. It's a good topic. All right, let's get to some phone calls before we get to the break with Sean in Sacramento. Hey, Sean.
Yo, Margo from another mother. What up, Grant? How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, man, blessed. Stuck a little bit of the Sacktown traffic, but happy to have you back on the AM radio. Quick
Thank you.
question, brother. I love your top 5 point guard list. I can't really argue with 4 of them. The one exclusion I would make is Oscar Robertson. Amazing career, triple-double season. Won that title late in his career, mostly due to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I put him on the
would
list.
Swap him out, actually.
I put him on the
No,
list.
I'm saying I totally get it. That's the one person I would take off the list, and I would.
What
put
about
in
Bob
Russell
Cousy?
Westbrook. Granted, I love Cousy with all the championships, but that was a totally different era of ball. When I think
All right. What about the
of highly
logo? Would you
competitive
put the
point
logo
guards,
on there?
That's a great one. I didn't even think about him, but I always thought of him more as a shooting guard, more than a point guard. He didn't have the same assist numbers that other guys had, like a Nash or a Westbrook. But Westbrook is the guy I would put in the top 5 for sure. No championship title, but did the triple-double 3 different seasons and went to the Western Conference Finals a couple of times. I think they went to the finals even once. So to me, that would be the guy I put in the top 5.
Okay, fair enough, Sean. My criticism with Westbrook, just a terrible shooter, not a good free throw shooter, but you can't argue with that. I could see him being top 5. I personally would put Bob Cousy on there ahead of him. I would put Jerry West ahead of him personally, but I'm okay with that. Don't have a problem with it.
Do you think Jerry West was a true point guard, or would you put him more as a shooting guard during that era?
He was in the backcourt with Gail Goodrich. He brought the ball up a lot. Yeah, I would consider him as a point guard, but he was a combo. I mean, he could play anywhere in the backcourt. The guy was just so gifted. He was so great.
Very fair. And even though it might not be your top 5, who is your favorite point guard to watch in the NBA?
Magic Johnson, number 1. Steph Curry, number 2. In all of my years of covering the NBA, I would go 1, 2. I love watching John Stockton work with Karl Malone, but Steph Curry and Magic Johnson are my 2 favorites.
I can't argue with that, man. I'll put J-Dub, White Chocolate in that same conversation.
Oh.
Not a lot of defense being played, some bad threes that he put up there, but man, was he fun to watch.
Boy, was he ever. Sean, appreciate it. Good call. You have a good one. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, brother. You too.
All right. We'll come right back. Grant Napear, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for 18 months. Again, check out dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Their awesome reviews, their awards. Can't go wrong at dasmechanical.org. Hey, it's Grant Napear for Village Financial Group. I have known broker-owner Spencer Grimmenstein for 25 years, ever since he began his family-owned business. Whether it's a home equity line of credit or buying or selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist with access to private money. Check out Village Financial Group at vfgloans.com or call Spencer at 916-805-4868. Be sure and call for the investor special. And if you go to their website, vfgloans.com, you can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. Folks, Spencer is awesome. Trust me. Again, I've known the guy since 2000. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Call 916-805-4868.
Hey, come on in.
Hi, Jack, in our subdivision.
Yeah, I saw your Suburban out front, so I thought I'd see how your kitchen and bath remodel was going.
We're delayed.
Oh, watch your step.
Waiting on subs.
Contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't go with Kitchen Mart?
No, why?
Nothing. That's just why we went with Kitchen Mart. They don't use subs.
No subs? No subs?
You know, with the exception of something very specialized, Kitchen Mart does everything in-house so they can finish on time and on budget. So your cat...
(779) Rhino, 5 point guards that we talked about, right? We just heard from our last caller, Sean. He would put Russell Westbrook on there. Your thoughts?
I can't do it. I can't put Westbrook on there. He was just too ball dominant. And we're talking about a point guard that is a quarterback of the team. There was only one guy that scored 15 points or more on that team besides him at 31.
I agree. Now, it's not fair for me to put Bob Cousy on there if I'm in football talking about the best 5 quarterbacks of all time having a cutoff point
of
1980. But when you look at what Bob Cousy did for the Celtics, you look at his resume, I mean, it's hard not to put him on there. It really is.
Yeah. Incredible player, incredible story, too. You don't know his story about eventually getting to the Celtics. Who were you taking? So the chat said Steve Nash and Jason Kidd. I've got to go Nash over Jason Kidd. How about you?
Yeah, I would too. I just think from the way I want the point guard position to be run, pace, distribution of the basketball, excellent shooter. You know, Kidd didn't really become a good shooter until the latter part of his career. We really worked on it, worked on it. Nash was a double threat. He was a threat driving to the basket. Great free throw shooter. Good deep shooter. Pace, assist. I mean, I would put Nash. I'd take him ahead of Kidd. I'm with you on that. I know some people wouldn't, but I would take Nash over Kidd.
What was it like watching Steve Nash run circle eights around players in the half court?
You know, it was incredible because he would start 5 feet from inside the timeline and either dribble left, right, and continue going all the way under the baseline, come out in whatever the other corner was, and literally do a 360 and end up back where he started. I mean, it was unbelievable, and nobody could stop him.
No.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, he was a tough cookie, no doubt about it. If we're going to go clutch, you got to think about Damian Lillard. He is clutch, Napes. Had some big playoff moments.
Clutch, but I can't put him top 5 of all time.
No, we're just, I'm expanding the list as we talk about point guards. I think we're pretty solid with the top 5, at least you and I are.
Do you think it's fair to have a cutoff point, or should we go all time?
I think we got to do a cutoff. Just, there's probably people that I'd be leaving off the list.
I mean, Gary Payton was a great point guard. Walt Frazier of the Knicks was a great point guard. But again, we're talking 60s and early 70s. All right. You talk about
Tony Parker.
I was just going to say Tony Parker. There are, Again, you could go Mo Cheeks, right? How about Sacramento's Kevin Johnson was pretty good. Not 5 best of all time.
No.
Right? But I mean, really, really good. But yeah, I'm with you. You got to have a cutoff point. You have to have a cutoff point.
So if we take Oscar out of the conversation, who's the best point guard in Sacramento Kings history?
That's a fabulous question. Fabulous question. Well, there's only 2 choices, or there's only 3 choices, correct? Well, I guess there's 4 if you want to go back to when they moved and they drafted Kenny Smith, Jason Williams, Mike Bibby, or De'Aaron Fox. I mean, now if you want to include Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah's success came after he left Sacramento,
right?
So we can't really include him. So out of those 4, I mean, I'm going to be objective. I got to put De'Aaron Fox number 1.
With the same qualifications that we're talking about with the top 5, De'Aaron only made 1 playoff series.
I understand. But if you're talking about individual talent, are we talking about what they meant to the team? Because if you're talking about what they meant to the team, then that would be easy. That would be Mike Bibby.
Yeah.
So, but if you're talking about talent, pure talent, then I would have to take De'Aaron Fox.
Fox 1, Bibby 2?
Yes, correct. And you probably don't remember Kenny Smith. He was a heck of a point guard. Not better. I mean, again, early in his career. The rookie out of North Carolina, so it took him a while, but he was really good. And then if you're going to talk about Danny Ainge, if you want to include him as a combo guard, but if you're talking about a guy that did play point, Danny Ainge would be number 1 on that list. And I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Right. Well, there's an argument that Fox is a little bit of a combo guard.
That's correct. But if you're telling me I can have Danny Ainge, okay, or De'Aaron Fox, I'm taking Danny Ainge in a New York second. Danny Ainge, because he's a much better all-around player, a flat-out winner, basketball IQ through the roof, never took a playoff, ultimate team guy, had all the intangibles that I want in terms of leadership. So Danny Ainge, and I would love if Jerry Reynolds, because he's talked about this, he had Danny Ainge as one of the top 10 Sacramento Kings players of all time. I asked him this question when we had him on, and I don't see how you couldn't have him on. Now, he didn't play that long, but when he was in Sacramento, he was still a heck of a player. Danny Ainge was an unbelievably talented player.
I mean, if only he was just a little bit more competitive, Napes.
Yeah. But you talk about, all right, so he played 14 seasons, and he was your prototypical combo guard, point guard, shooting guard. He played them both. And here's the other deal. You want to talk about athleticism? You know, a lot of people forget he played 3 years in Major League Baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. He played Major League Baseball with the Blue Jays.
Wow.
I mean, so think about that. You want to talk about, as an athlete, not only did he play in the NBA, he played Major League Baseball.
He's on that short list, huh? That have done 2. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Done 2 well. Was he good at baseball?
He couldn't hit. So that's why he went and played basketball as his primary sport.
So looking at the chat, we're getting some Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
No, come on.
Yeah, I'm not in that same area either. Somebody said Nick Van Axel. I think we're getting a little bit out into the woods, but yeah, I think Fox 1, maybe 2, excluding Danny.
Okay. I think, we talk about Danny Ainge. His real problem was at the plate. Excellent fielder, but not great. He played with the Blue Jays in 79, 80, and 81.
And you went to BYU, correct?
He batted .220, by the way, his career.
Okay.
Yeah, BYU, tremendous collegiate basketball player, one of the great shots in NCAA tournament history.
So he would have started later because he likely would have gone on a mission, then went to baseball, and then back to basketball.
Correct.
All right.
Yep. Great guy. But I have to, if we're going to include him, he's number 1. He's ahead of all of those.
I will rely on you for that. Never got the pleasure of seeing him play in person.
I think Jerry Reynolds would agree with me. And just from our last conversation, and I can't remember if that was here on Fox Sports Sacramento where we talked about Danny or on our podcast. I think it was here. He had Danny as a top 10 Sacramento Kings player of all time.
Yep, he absolutely did. He has Domas at 1 at center.
So there's a big disagreement with that among the fans of Sacramento.
Well, I mean, it's generations, right, Grant? You said it earlier. Maybe you didn't see him play. I was the prototypical Mike Bibby age group where we lived the 2002 playoffs and we still relive them. And then others, De'Aaron Fox, that was their Mike Bibby. And some of us lucky enough to remember Bobby Hurley for the short time that he was here in Sacramento. But Isaiah Thomas, that's the interesting name that always catches my eye because I will never forget how he came out that second game of the season. And I think he dropped like 29 or 31, Grant, and was just spectacular his rookie year.
If you want to add in on this, we'll open up the phone lines at 916-779-0929. And I love all the comments that we are getting on the chat line. I mean, it's subjective, and a lot depends on how old you are, right? A lot depends on your age. If you're older like me, you remember more because you watched players play in person, which will affect your voting when it comes to this. I watched Jerry West play. I watched Walt Frazier play. I watched Earl Monroe play. I watched, Mo Cheeks play, and I watched Dennis Johnson play in that era. Obviously, we talk about Magic Johnson. I not only watched, I announced his games. I don't think anybody would argue with Magic. I think most people would have him as number one at all. So, appreciate the messages on the chat line if you're streaming over on our Fox Sports Sacramento YouTube page. I get this one. Grant, how do you deal with jet lag and your body clock being off? I recently traveled across the globe, and I can't fall asleep until 4 a.m. I've always thought that there's really not much you can do about it. I've tried everything when I travel overseas. I've tried leaving in the early afternoon and arriving later in the day. I've tried leaving on a late night flight, thinking that I'll get on the plane, and after I eat, I'll sleep. And then when I land, hopefully it will be morning. But then how do you stay up all day until you try to go to sleep? I find it to be really almost impossible. The one thing that does help is flying on a 787 or an Airbus A350, because they're very modern aircraft and the pressurization on those planes are better than a 777, and it's makes it better on your body. The other thing that really helps is drinking a lot of water and not drinking alcohol. If you drink alcohol on a plane, you're going to get dehydrated very, very quickly. So I don't even, if I do, I'll have one glass of wine just to hopefully get me to fall asleep. And that's it. My motto is to drink 1 bottle of water every hour, because you really do have to stay hydrated. I have found that helps, but honestly, good luck, right? Good luck. It's very, very difficult. And a lot depends on what class of service you're flying. If you're flying economy, where it's more difficult to sleep, your jet lag effects is going to be a lot more. If you're lucky enough to be in comfort, whether it's business class or first class, then you have the ability to have a real bed. When I say a real bed from an airline perspective, sleep and try to sleep wherever you're going. Try to sleep where it's their nighttime. So you're kind of getting a head start on the flight. Don't sleep during wherever you're going their daytime, because that doesn't help. You want to try to sleep when it's nighttime to what your destination is. So if you could do that, you're ahead of the game. If not, I've got 2 words for you. Good luck. Good luck, because it's nothing easy to get over. Says Boeing 777 for 14 and a half hours. You're going to have jet lag if you're on a 777 for 14 and a half hours, Jasar. I mean, just be blessed that you're able to travel. That's what I would say. You're lucky. You're going somewhere. Hopefully you're going somewhere for enjoyment, for pleasure, holiday. So deal with it. There are a lot of people that would love to experience that. They'd be fine with having jet lag. They'd never get an opportunity to travel. So look at the bright side. No problem. Takes 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days. Deal with it, right? Take a little energy drink, exercise, go for a walk, whatever the case may be. But you're going somewhere. So consider yourself lucky, as long as it's for holiday for enjoyment. I would say good for you. Have a great time. 1 hour left right here on Fox Sports Sacramento, 916-779-0929. When we come back, Grant's Rant. Can't wait for that here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic still very busy throughout the Sacramento area, dealing with an accident on US 50 eastbound at Sunrise Boulevard. Center lane is blocked off. You're going to start hitting those brakes right on the approach to about Mather Field Road and then ride those all the way to the accident scene. Heavy rush hour delays on US 50 eastbound, westbound in between Howe Avenue and I-5, I-5 northbound, southbound in between Top of the Town Freeway and about Sutterville Road, dealing with some heavy rush hour delays. I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now is the moment we've been waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope. Join the fight and walk to end Alzheimer's, the largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So come on, Sacramento, get out, get moving, and join the Walk to End Alzheimer's, Saturday, September 27th, 8:30 a.m. at William Land Park. Join the movement at alz.org/walk.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Decisions determine results. So which path do I want to take? Help people in need or stand on the sidelines watching? Worry about how to pay for school or have my education paid for? Push myself and learn new skills or stay the same? My decision is to serve part-time with the Army National Guard, and my results will be life-changing. What will you decide? Go to NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard. Aired by the California Broadcasters.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Dodgers are sitting at 84-67, and on paper, with a payroll brushing up against $350 million, that feels like a letdown. But much like NBA teams that treat the regular season seeding as a little more than a tune-up for May and June, you get a sense the Dodgers are quietly pacing themselves for October. Yes, the injury bug has done some damage there, but the win total isn't as gaudy as fans might prefer. But this team doesn't lack for firepower. Not when Shohei Ohtani is finally hitting his stride, putting together 5 no-hit innings on the mound and hitting his 50th home run at the plate. That's the frightening part. The record is merely average by Dodger standards, and the roster anything but. If Ohtani stays hot and they get a little healthier, nobody's going to care what the standings look like in mid-September. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Pickleball is the fastest growing court sport in the world, and no one makes playing pickleball safer, more comfortable, and quicker on your feet than Tyrell. Tyrell is the first purpose-built shoe made specifically for playing pickleball. Tyrell shoes are made with the famous Vibram outsole. Remember, Tyrol. If you want to elevate your game, you want to play longer, more comfortably, go to TyrellPickleball.com and experience how Tyrell can help your game while making you look like a real pro.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
5 o'clock every day means Grant's Rant. Rhino, what do you have for me today?
Funny that you're talking about travel, because there is a travel-related item on the rant list. It's people that bring hot food onto the airplane from the terminal. So they just stink up the entire plane, especially if it's going to be a long flight. Second that I have for you is recently Deshaun Foster fired by UCLA early on in his second year as the head football coach. Since UCLA has not begun school, there is now a 30-day transfer portal period in which any UCLA player can leave the school and be eligible to play next year for another program. Grant, they've got to get the transfer portal in order. This is nuts. And last but not least, a little bit off the top of my head here, but, whenever you see somebody in the NFL get injured, more times than not, if you're at a sports bar or somebody else, it's not, oh, is he okay? It's, oh, my fantasy team, right? Then you look at a guy like Jaden Reed for the Green Bay Packers, who just had double surgery on his clavicle, which he broke in the game, and a fractured foot that he was playing on. Can we remember these guys are tough as heck? So those are your choices.
I love the three choices, and I'm ready to go with my rant. I have a lot to say about traveling because it's my passion, and I absolutely love going to the airport and flying. Rhino talked about bringing hot food on the plane, but I'm going to start before that, all right? So you go to your gate, and you look at the waiting area, and you can tell whether the flight is going to be crowded or not just by the number of people that are sitting and waiting for boarding to start. Here's my question. Does your carry-on bag need to be on a seat next to you? Like, is it important? Is your carry-on bag saying, oh, I just don't want to really sit on the floor. Please put me on the seat next to you. So you're looking for a place to sit, and you've got 100 people, and there's another 100 seats with bags on them. When you see people that are looking for a place to sit down, take your darn bag off the seat next to you and put it on the floor between your legs or next to your legs, for crying out loud. I mean, give me a freaking break. I've seen elderly people looking for seats. I've seen disabled people looking for seats, and yet there are so many seats with bags on them. Your bag does not need to be on the seat next to you. Now, if there's nobody in the area and there are plenty of empty seats, fine. But when you start to see that the area is getting crowded, take your bag off the seat and put it on the floor. That is number one. Number two, Rhino talked about bringing hot food onto the plane. I don't really mind it as much unless, as Rhino talked about, it has got a bad smell to it. It's called common sense. It's called consideration. That's number two. Number three, and you can call me get off my lawn guy, call me an old man, call me whatever the heck you want. There really needs to be some type of dress code when you're flying on an airline. I do not want to be sitting next to an individual in gym clothes with a loose-fitting tank top, okay? That's not what I want when I'm flying. Again, have a little etiquette, have a little decency, have a little common sense. You're going on an airplane with many other people. Put on a freaking shirt, would you please? Is that asking too much? Put on a freaking shirt. And I'm not even going to get into what some of the ladies wear because, you know what? I don't want to get Fox Sports Sacramento into trouble. But again, I'm going to talk about common sense. Here's something else. You know what? It shouldn't take 30 minutes to board an aircraft. I mean, it's not brain surgery. All right? Walk onto the plane, put your carry-on above, and sit down. All right? Stop blocking the aisles with unnecessary nonsense. And when you walk down the aisle and you have a carry-on bag over your shoulder, memo, when you turn, your carry-on bag goes into the aisle seat, meaning that if somebody is sitting there and you have a backpack on, you have a carry-on bag over your shoulder, when you turn, your bag hits the individual that may be sitting in the aisle seat. Again, common freaking sense. Then when the plane lands, all right, you're not like Usain Bolt in the Olympics running the 100-meter dash to get off the plane. You wait until the aisles in front of you exit first, unless there is an announcement made by the flight attendants stating that because your flight is coming late, there are a number of people that need to make their connections. Would you please let them deplane first? That never works because people are rude and they're like, too bad, they can miss their flight. But wait your turn, would you please? These people that grab their bags and try to get through you when you're standing in the aisle, like they're trying to move up 2 or 3 rows or 4 rows, 5 rows, is that really going to help you? Is that going to make a difference in your life? What are you going to do? You're going to save 45 seconds? You're going to save 60 seconds? How about wait your freaking turn? And if you don't like that, I've got a little advice for you. When you book your ticket, book a seat near the front of the aircraft. Don't book a seat in the rear of the aircraft if you're going to be one of those rude individuals who wants to cut in front of everybody while they're trying to get out of their aisle, grab their bag, and get off the plane. 2 words, common sense. It starts at the waiting area, at the gate. Take your damn bag off the seat next to you when it is crowded and allow somebody else to sit down. And don't tell me, well, you don't want to sit next to a stranger. You're boarding a tube, right? You're getting ready to get on a tube, and there's going to be somebody sitting next to you. And there might be 2 people sitting next to you. If you have a middle seat, it's not the end of the world. Be considerate, would you please? It's called common sense. Flying 101. Ryan talked about food on the aircraft. Doesn't bother me, but you know what? Again, common sense. Take your bag off the damn chair. Board the plane and stop standing in the aisle for no reason. When you have a carry-on or a backpack, when you turn, be aware you're going to hit somebody sitting down. Common sense. When you land, let the row in front of you deplane first. Common sense. And that's my rant for today.
Educate
Rhino, do you have
them.
any problem with that?
No, the bag over the shoulder, brilliant. Couple things. Gym guy, tank top guy, always takes their shoes off on the plane too.
Always.
Always.
It's unbelievable. It's just incredible. But I don't understand. You see, it happens all the time. I was on a flight 3 weeks ago, and this guy walks on. He's probably early 20s with his girlfriend, and I was sitting in the aisle, and he has a loose-fitting tank top.
Yep.
A pair of gym shorts with his sneakers on. He's got the middle seat. His girlfriend is in the aisle, and they're in a big fight. Okay.
Oh, geez.
They're in a fight, but he is trying to talk to her, and she is completely ignoring him. And it's not only awkward and uncomfortable, but then he does take off his sneakers, right?
Yep.
And I'm just
Every
like,
time.
Are we in your living room? Are we in your apartment or what? And then I'm trying not to. This girl is like, she's like, get away from me. Like she's literally doesn't win. And he's literally leaning over to her.
Oh, man.
And it was just like, oh my God.
Dude.
And I would have switched seats, but every seat was taken on the flight.
She's not going anywhere. Just give it a break.
Oh.
Maybe give her some time. So I would have never, growing up, been allowed on an airplane like that. House of, everybody in my family, they're pilots. There's a dress code when you get on a plane. You wear pants and you wear shoes. But the whole thing about bags being on the
I'm
seat,
okay with shorts and a golf shirt or a regular shirt, but I'm not okay with a tank top.
Fair enough. But the thing with the bags on the seat is usually because there's a dog hidden somewhere in that bag.
So a dog can't be right between your feet so you can reach down and pet its head? I mean, is that like, you know what? I got to tell you, flying in America now is like walking through PetSmart. I mean, it's unbelievable. And listen, I don't make the rules for the airlines, dogs, this, that, but like, it's like walking through PetSmart, going into an airport in the United States. Right?
It is.
There's dogs everywhere. It's unbelievable to me.
There's these little things about airports that you could just point out. Like If you have assigned seating, why do you need to line up to board? I'm sure you've seen that many times flying international. You're going to get your seat. You're assigned a seat. You don't need to line up early.
They're pretty strict on international flights when they board by zones. They're very, because you have so many people boarding, they really have to do it in a orderly manner or else it will take forever. So a lot of times they won't even let you board if you're trying to board when it's not your zone. They look at it and they say, nope, you got to wait. But yeah, I'm with you. It's just, listen, flying I love flying. I love traveling, but these things drive me freaking crazy, as you could tell by my rant.
No doubt. The bag over the shoulder, though. Great.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
You know how many, like, it's like being in a boxing ring. Like if you sit on an aisle and people are boarding with their carry-on, they are completely unaware of when they turn that their bag is going to hit you. Or if they're even walking down the aisle and their bag is on the right or left shoulder, depending on where you are, the arrow is narrow. Take the bag off your shoulder and hold it in front of you as you're walking down the aisle. But if not, it's boom, 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 boom. You're hitting every person on the airplane as you're walking down the aisle, and they're oblivious to it or they don't care.
Well, that's the thing. You know they're feeling that bag hitting something. Common sense tells you to turn around. It's either somebody or a seat. Like, come on. Good job, Napes. Well done.
Well, thank you. You're the one that gave me the idea with the food on the airplane. That doesn't bother me as much if it's, regular food or whatever. But thank you, buddy.
You're welcome.
Good job there.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoyed Grant's rant. If you want to give me a call, I would love to hear from you right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Give me a shout at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. And as I said, I love traveling. I love flying. It was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. I wanted to go on the longest flight in the world. So I flew Singapore Airlines from Singapore to New York, anywhere between 17 and a half and 18 and a half hours, depending on the wind and the route that you take. So I love that. I loved it so much when I landed in New York, I didn't want to get off the airplane. And you know something that's very interesting about that flight? You fly from Singapore, you go over Taiwan, by Japan, over the pole, down the top of Canada, and straight into New York. When that flight goes back to Singapore 2 or 3 hours later, it goes over the North Atlantic, over Europe, over the Middle East, right across India, and into Singapore that way. So that plane literally goes around the world because it is halfway around the world. Singapore, New York, 12-hour time difference. New York, Singapore. The plane literally goes around the world. It doesn't go when it takes off from New York in the direction that it came from. All right, let's get to some phone calls. Let's check in with Chris. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Grant, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Chris.
Question for you. So my family and I took a 12-hour flight to China not too long ago for a month. And I will never forget this 85-year-old woman from the back of the plane decided that it was best to force her way to the front by pushing my children as well as many people out of the way so that she could get off first. Now, my question is, do you say something to these rude people or do you let it go?
No, I do say something. I say, hey, stop. Where are you going? Now, if you're flying internationally, they don't speak English. So I put my hand up and I'm like, hey, stop. Where are you going? No, because it is unbelievable.
Oh, no. And I speak Chinese. So when I started barking at her, my ex-wife was like, don't say that. Don't say that. You're being rude. I'm being rude. I think she's being rude. So I got to tell you, I mean, the people on the plane are just another breed, but I appreciate your take on it. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. No, I do. I say something. And I'm like, hey, where are you going? Stop. You're not going anywhere. And if they don't speak English, then I put the hand up. They get the message.
Grant, I'm
916. What's that, Rhino?
I'm glad that you enforce flight etiquette and you're educating people. A lot of folks will be afraid to do that because they don't want to show up online on TikTok.
Well, At the risk of offending anybody, I will just put it to you this way. I have learned that when you travel internationally, different cultures have different routines. And when that individual, Chris, said that he was flying over to China, I have been on many flights to China and through China, and I have found that that culture, and the Chinese in particular, are probably, if I can use the term culprit, the biggest culprits of deplaning and thinking it's okay to walk through everyone. And I don't know if that's just the culture of the country as opposed to being rude on purpose and obnoxious. It could just be the culture. I don't know the answer to that question. All right, let's get to calls. 916-779-0929. And we say hello to Pam in Woodland. Hello, Pam. Welcome to the show. Whoops, let me get Pam. Sorry, Pam, I hit the wrong button. Let me get you right on here. There you go, Pam. Thank you very much. Welcome. You're on the air with Grant.
Okay, thank you, Grant. I'm so glad you're back on the air. I've missed you all these years. But
thank you.
I'm calling to talk about the airport. So my sister and I used to fly from San Francisco to New York City every summer to visit our dad. And I started flying when I was 6 and my sister was 7.5. And, you know, rules and things were much different back then. There was, you know, we didn't even have to wear a little dog tag, you know, on the plane to fly by ourselves. But anyway, the point is that when the plane would land, my sister and I would jump up out of our seats and just go barreling to the front, you know, no matter where we were just out of the seat and running up the aisle. And no one said anything because, you know, we were so young. I mean, I was only, you know, 6.5 or 7, but it was just hilarious because, you know, nowadays I would never do that. I just get up and, you know, stand and wait my turn. But anyway, I'm so glad you're back. I am so glad you're back. Thanks for being back, Grant. Okay.
Pam,
bye-bye.
Thank you very much for your support. You have a good rest of the day. Appreciate it. Good stuff from Pam.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. If you want to get in on the program like Pam, you can do so at 916-779-0929. Hey, I want to talk to you about Village Financial Group. And I want to talk to you about Spencer Grimmenstein, owner, broker, somebody I've known for 25 years. That was when he began his family-owned business, Village Financial Group. And he's happy because there was a dip again in the rates. Take advantage of it by calling or texting Spencer, 916-805-4868. Call or text. He's fine with that. And whether it's a home equity line of credit you're looking for, buying, selling a home, Spencer is a very creative financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Check out their website, vfgloans.com, and you can look at over 9,000 properties available for purchase. And be sure and call Spence, again, 916-805-4868, and ask for the investor special. It makes sense to call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Your phone calls.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Who says Mondays have to be boring? At Bennett's, Mondays are made for wine and dine. For just $65, enjoy 2 full entrees, 2 salads, and a bottle of wine. Perfect for date night or dinner with a friend. That's a complete dinner for 2 with wine. Treat yourself to our crave-worthy favorites, like our prawn linguine or short rib with mashed potatoes. Join us this Monday in Roseville, Rockland, or Sacramento. Reserve now at bennettsrestaurants.com. Make Monday the new fun day at Bennett's.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
How bad is Cameron Cade wanted?
Sports fans, finally a horror film with a football twist. Check out Him, the IMAX experience, playing this week at the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento.
In this game, violence is rewarded. So learn to enjoy it.
Greatness demands sacrifice. The next great quarterback descends into a world of terror and trains into something darker. The best theater to experience him is on the Esquire IMAX Theater 6-story screen. Grab your reserved seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Fox Sports Sacramento, glad that you are with us. Love taking your phone calls at 916-779-0929. Why don't we get to Elk Grove, and that's where Craig is. Hey, Craig, how are you?
Good, Grant. How are you?
I'm good, buddy.
People bringing food on a plane. Most of the time, it's fine. The worst thing people can do is bring fish or seafood.
Yeah, that would not be good. I wouldn't like that. Yeah, that would not be good.
I went from San Francisco to London one time, and it smelled like something died the whole time.
And why are people bringing food on a 10-hour flight? They're going to have full meal service on there. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. It's what I couldn't understand either. It was crazy. It just stunk so bad.
That's just inconsiderate. Awful. That's rude and inconsiderate. Just awful. Thank you, Craig.
So they should make it illegal to bring seafood on a plane.
Thanks for the call, man. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right. You too.
Yeah, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I've been on, I wonder how many millions of miles I have flown in my life. I'm thinking about just the 32 years of traveling in the NBA, all the Arena Football League games I did on the other side of the country, my leisure travel my entire life. I wish I had a number. I would love to know what it is. It's got to be just ridiculously high. I bet you it's up there with a pilot, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm thinking 32 years of doing 41 road games, flying everywhere, maybe with the exception of a trip to play the Warriors, or if you're in Philadelphia, busing in New York. And then I did arena football for, 15 years. And I can't even tell you how many times I was on a red eye from the West Coast to the East Coast, then fly back with the team the next day, or after the game, I should say, to San Jose. All the trips I made to watch the Giants play, where I boarded the plane at 11:30 at night or whatever time it was, landed, went to the game, got back to the airport, got on the plane, flew back to Sacramento. That's basically almost a 6,000-mile round trip. Yeah, I would love to know what the number of miles would be. That flight, by the way, from Singapore to JFK is over 10,000 miles. So I've done that now 3 times. That's a heck of a flight. If you really like flying, and I really mean this, if you are a big fan of flying and you love great airlines, go Singapore Airlines, either JFK or Newark to Singapore, or go the other way, depending on where you're going. They only have 2 services of seats. They don't have economy. They only have premium economy and business class. No first class, no economy, because the weight on the aircraft can't exceed what it would be if you had full economy in addition to premium economy and business. So they only have business class and premium economy on the longest flight in the world. That's a trip to be on a plane that long. It really is. I mean, that is it's unbelievable. By the time you board and get off the plane, you're on the plane about 19 hours. It's a trip. It is a trip. Rhino, could you do that, Rhino? Could you go on a flight for 18 hours, buddy? Would you be able to survive?
Yeah, on Etihad's, give me the residence suite.
Oh, if you're on the residence suite, yeah. If you're on the residence suite, You want to be like an Air Force plane where it can be refueled in the sky and just keep on going, and never get off.
100%. And, you got your own menu with your name on it. What I would not be able to do is a short trip in that suite. Can't do it. Won't do it.
No, it would be torture. You can't do that. You could not do a short trip. Like if I don't even know what their shortest flight duration would be, but no, you couldn't do it. That would be torturous. I'm with you 100% on that. That is on my bucket list. So I've never done that, but it's on my bucket list.
It would be quite the experience. Grant, you're talking about how many places you've been. I'm sure you've got the miles somewhere.
No, I don't have the miles. I used to, but I don't anymore. And you have to also remember with flying private with the Kings, you didn't get miles. So
it's true.
You were flying on a team airplane. There were no miles. So no, I don't have that many miles. I used to have more, but I don't have that many right now. So I don't really fly premium anymore because it is very expensive to go international fly premium. I gut it out in the back of the airplane, and I get up and I walk, and I try not to sit down for more than 2 or 3 hours at a time. And then I'm just like, well, I'm going somewhere that I want to go, so it's okay.
How is the food on the long flights these days?
Excellent.
Really?
I don't know about the American Airlines, the U.S. carriers, not American Airlines per se, because I only fly the international carriers when I go abroad. It's very good. Very good. And as I said, I don't drink alcohol when I fly, but they serve free alcohol even in economy.
Wow.
They have mixed drinks. They have various beers and wine on all the international airlines, and it's included in the price of your ticket.
There you go. Maybe that could get Jerry Reynolds on a plane.
Yeah, I see. I don't think I could get Jerry on a plane I don't think I could get Jerry. I could barely get Jerry right now on a plane that would be more than 4 hours. Like, I don't think Jerry would do that. I think if you said, Jerry, listen, I got a free trip for you, let's say to Miami, okay, or New York, he would probably say, I don't want to go. It's too long of a flight. I can't do it.
Yeah, well, that's where you gotta get with him. Say, Jerry, I can get you these miles. They didn't have them back when you flew commercial with the team, but now you can add these things up and cash them in, Jerry.
I'd have to get Jerry a first class ticket on a great airline and go, Jerry, this is it. And then show him a video, right? Show him a video of what it's going to be like. And then maybe, no, really, I'd have to show him a video. And then maybe, just maybe, we could do that. But I'm not holding my breath, Rhino. I'm not holding my breath on that.
And maybe if it's the residents, it's the residents, Grant.
Well, that's $25,000. That's $25,000. Do you know how we're going to be able to do that?
Eat the ads. Give us a call, 779-0929-916 area code.
I love
at
it.
the ads.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. All right, again, if you want to get in on the program, 916-779-0929. If you missed my conversation with Tom Brenneman earlier, it was incredible. Really enjoyed that. Tomorrow, Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. I'm looking ahead to next week already. Steve Sands from NBC Sports and the Golf Channel is going to come on and preview the Ryder Cup. We have Sean Salisbury on Tuesdays, Chris Landry on Thursdays, which means tomorrow. You heard Kenny Albert yesterday. I'm going to have his uncle on, Steve Albert. Steve's he's been the announcer for some of the greatest boxing matches in history. Steve Albert's been on the call. He's done the NBA for many, many years. Great guy. Love Steve Albert. He's got a new book out. I'm going to talk to Steve about his new book. We've got Kevin Nagel, who's going to be coming on probably at the end of next week, the owner, managing general partner of the Sacramento Republic. We're going to talk to him about what's going on at the rail yards with the construction of the stadium. We have got some other network announcers lined up. I'm trying to work around their schedule to get them on. Before you know it, we're going to have a lot of King Sound on because training camp is going to begin. So we'll be covering that from top to bottom. You won't miss anything. And some other well-known people will be joining me right here. We've already had Charles Barkley on, Ian Eagle, Mike Breen, just to name a few. I love it. And many more coming your way here on the Grant Napear Show. 916-779-0929. If you missed hour number 1 of the show, don't worry about it. It's going to be replayed at 6 o'clock, Monday through Friday. If you come in a little late, if you missed the first hour, no problem. You can listen to it beginning at 6 o'clock. And tonight, I'll be over on my YouTube channel at 7 o'clock. If you don't like that with Grant Napear, as I'll be doing my podcast. That is at 7 o'clock tonight. And if you are new to the show here and you're not aware of what we do, Rhino and yours truly, we do 82 post-game shows a year over on my YouTube channel if you don't like that, along with other Kings programming. So we've got you dialed here every day for 3 hours on our podcast, and hope that you can join us. We would love to have your participation on both platforms. Love doing this, and I'm so happy to be back. I'm happy for the support. I'm happy for all of the comments, and I can't wait for the start of basketball season. Think about that. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking a lot of Kings in addition to the NFL. So give me a call at 916-779-0929, and let's get back to the phone lines, and we say hello to Ron. Hello, Ron. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Grant. Good to hear you.
Thank you, Ron.
Hey, I want to go to bat for my favorite baseball player, and you will know who that is when I say Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle, I was so blessed to say that I saw him play in person at Yankee Stadium. Truly one of my favorite players of all time, Ron. Absolutely.
Well, I was going to call you a long time ago, but I was always working in transit. And I was going to ask you, did you go to Yankee Stadium and see Mickey Mantle? Because I knew you were from Long Island.
I was
listening. So I was listening, and Doug Christie was with you then. And I don't know how the subject came up, but you said you went to Yankee Stadium on bat day, and you got a bat, but it wasn't Mick, or one with his name on it. And you went on a little bit about, saying, Mickey Mantle, Yankee Stadium, and you hit home. You hit a home run that day with me. I didn't have to ask, So I want to go to bat here for a second, okay?
Sure.
Okay, 1961. Of course, everybody, sports people know what went on with the Yankees and baseball then.
Mm-hmm.
So without going there, I want to tell you about Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. That year, Mantle played in 8 fewer games than Roger. Of course, he hit 7 fewer home runs, but the difference was in the walks. Mantle walked 32 more times than Roger that year. So those are some numbers to think about. Like I said, I'm going to bat for Mick. So what do you think?
Well, the M&M boys were unbelievable. Mantle finished with 54 home runs in 61.
Yes.
And
Yes,
you also
he
have to
did.
remember, he didn't play the whole season because he got hurt, which also made it
That
more
is-
difficult. But, the M&M
Yes.
boys were must-see. And if you were at a game with those two playing on the field, consider yourself blessed. But,
Yeah.
that was pretty amazing. They were teammates, I think, if memory serves me correct, Mantle and Maris were teammates for 6 years. I think they began teammates, if I'm not mistaken, in 1960.
Well, I think Roger came from Kansas City, right? He played for Kansas City, and my dad always said that was the Yankees farm club. Anyway, I know he went to the Cardinals after the Yankees, but I always thought it was interesting that Mick played in 8 fewer games and was walked 32 more times than Roger. So I don't know what you want to do with those numbers, but
Well, I look at the batting order, Ron. I look at the batting order because, Maris batted ahead of Mantle. So you have to factor that in, in terms of avoiding one guy to get to the other. I mean, you had to get through both of them. But so that was one of the things. Listen, that was a great era in baseball with Mantle and Maris. I mean, even if you weren't a Yankees fan, people were captivated in that.
Well, here I am on the West Coast, and of course the Major League didn't come here to 58. We had the Sacramento Solons AAA down at Edmonds Field. And so I was catching up with baseball when I was 7 years old, and we landed back in Sacramento in '47. So
Wow.
we were on the road. I didn't know baseball, but I hear the kids talking. We were really rural, and the guys from the Army over at the Second Old Depot would talk, and the men and the boys. Everybody had a favorite player, except me, and I wasn't in the conversation yet. Well, the big deal was the Yankees were coming to town, spring '51, and they were going through California doing exhibition games.
Mm-hmm.
And they played at Edmonds Field, and it was a night game because we had lights in Edmonds Field. And the next day, all the scuttlebutt was about this kid from Oklahoma named Mickey hit a home run at Edmonds Field.
How about that?
So that was Joe DiMaggio's last year. Mantle would be a rookie after spring,
Mm-hmm.
And so the name Mickey stuck in my brain. See, nobody had him as their favorite player. They had Spider Jorgensen and DiMaggio, and of course Jackie, and a guy named Walt Droko that played for the Solons in '51.
May I
So,
ask, Ron, may I ask how old are you?
I'm 82.
Okay.
I'll be 83 next month if I make it.
You'll make it, buddy.
And so, if I don't, I'll tell them Grant said I'm going to make it. So, my doctors are taking care of me. And it's
Well,
good
good.
to hear your voice. I'll call you another time
But
about.
please do. Please do.
About Mantle again and more about the walk and prayers. Okay.
Sure. Thank you, Ron.
Hey, surf up, Grant. Surf up.
Appreciate it. Good stuff. Well, I always share the story of going to Bat Day, and I'll do it real quickly before we get to break. You'd go to Bat Day, and now you don't have Bat Day because the fans would kill each other in the stands. Back then, it was civilized. And I remember my Little League team going in through the turnstiles, and you got a bat, and it would have a Yankees signature on it, and you would pray that you would get Mickey Mantle's bat. And I remember I was crushed. I got Horace Clark's bat, the second baseman, and I was devastated. And then at Little League, everyone wanted jersey number 7. And my dad was the manager of our team. And I'll never forget this. We were in the car driving to Little League, and he's got the uniforms in the back seat, in the boxes that we're going to hand out. And he said in the car, he goes, "I'm letting you know you're not getting number 7. I'm like, "Dad, I want number 7. He's like, "You're not getting number 7. I don't play favorites. And so I don't want people thinking that I'm playing favorites with my son. I'm sorry." He said, "I'm very sorry, son, but you're not getting number 7. And I'll never forget that. I was devastated. I could not wear number 7 on my Little League team. Final segment. When we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take one final look at the roadways. Still very busy throughout most of the Sacramento area. I-5 northbound at the I-80 interchange. You got that accident still off to the shoulder. You still got stop-and-go traffic pretty much from Sutterville Road as you make your way to that scene, so give yourself that extra time through there. Cap City Freeway still very sluggish anywhere from Marconi Avenue as you make your way down to Exposition Boulevard. Give yourself about 25 extra minutes. With twice-an-hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
In the fight against Alzheimer's, now is the moment we've been waiting for. With new treatments emerging in the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope. Join the fight and walk to end Alzheimer's, the largest fundraiser for care, support, and research to fight the disease. So come on, Sacramento, get out, get moving, and join the Walk to End Alzheimer's, Saturday, September 27th, 8:30 a.m. at William Land Park. Join the movement at alz.org/walk.
So many things, big and little, make you uniquely you. Your hobbies, dreams, careers, family, and more. Addiction to drugs, including opioids and stimulants, can strip these away from you. Recover your life. Choose treatment for drug addiction and get back to what matters most. Find a provider and proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org.
Football is back,
And so is your big shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats from breakout rookies to elite quarterbacks and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hey, it's Grant Napear. Do you need a maintenance check or an emergency repair on a heating or cooling unit? DAS Mechanical will take care of all of your heating, cooling, ventilation, and energy needs. DAS Mechanical will provide you with a full consultation. They'll explain all of your available options so that you can choose the system that's right for your home or business. And DAS Mechanical serves both residential and commercial clients, and they offer a variety of money-saving solutions. Go check out their website, dasmechanical.org, and look at all of their 5-star reviews and their best of awards. And remember, special financing is available, including 0% interest for top five quarterbacks from all time, beginning in 1980. Top 5 point guards of all time. Travel, etiquette on the airplane, Rhino. Gosh, we're doing etiquette on an airplane during the Grant Napear show. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah, we've gone a lot of different ways, and what a call by Ron. That was very, very cool. It's a blast from the past.
82 years old, talking about Maris and Mantle, the M&M boys. What an era that was. I was a little too young. Obviously, I didn't remember it all. I was 2 years old when Maris hit 61, but it was a thrill. I'll never forget. It was a real thrill going to, well, first of all, it was a thrill going to Yankee Stadium, but going to Yankee Stadium to see Mickey Mantle play, even as a little boy, okay, even as someone that was very young, it was a thrill to know that you were going to Yankee Stadium to see Mickey Mantle play. Like, you knew even at age 5 years old and 6 years old that you were going to see greatness. And I don't know how many times I saw Mickey Mantle play in person, but it was always a thrill. 916-779-0929. Again, that's 916-779-0929. And, I think when I reflect back on all of the great athletes, Mickey Mantle, the greatest baseball player that I've ever seen. Jim Brown, watching him at Yankee Stadium, I believe it was 1965 that I watched Jim Brown play against the Giants at Yankee Stadium. Watched Johnny Unitas play a number of times. I mean, I was blessed. I saw some of the greats of all times. But watching Mickey Mantle play in person, even as a kid, I remember that. Like I just remember going to the stadium and being so excited to be at Yankee Stadium to watch Mickey Mantle play. Let's get to John. John, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Grant. How are you?
I'm good, buddy.
Hey, man, today was just a fun show. This is one of the fun shows as if it were 5 years ago or 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, listening to you talk about flights and so forth and reminiscing. And hey, like Ryan said a minute ago, that guy Ron who calls in, I hope he calls in more often because he's probably got some stories, Grant, that we would all love to hear. We would all love to hear.
Totally agree.
That was freaking cool. And you went so many ways today. It was so fun. I'm glad you did mention Roger Staubach, although he's not the best of all time, but he was one of the guys that nobody wanted to let down. You know what I mean? As one of the quarterbacks, but you know, if you're not
and a
great
human being, a great human being. One of the you've heard me talk about it. It was one of the best evenings I've ever had in my life. Was sitting at a dinner table with Roger Staubach.
I've heard you 2 or 3 times talk about that, and each time you had a little different, something different to say. I can't wait till the next time you do because he was we've talked about it, Grant. He's one of the guys that I first loved when I first fell in love with football because he was so easy to root for, such a good guy, and everything like that. You know him, and so I'd obviously put Brady and Montana. I mean, in the top 2, and if they're not in the top 5 conversations, like you said, you can't even have that. And I don't even know if Staubach would be in the top 5, but for me, he is. For me, he is. Just for, because we've talked about this before. Magic Johnson would be one of my point guards that was probably the best point guard maybe ever because he could guard any position and nobody wanted to let him down either. So this has been a super fun show, Grant. It's just like the old days, man. I just wanted to chime in. I've been super busy today, but I wanted to chime in. Thanks for taking my call towards the end, buddy.
Thank you very much. Rhino, interesting topics today, and I enjoyed that conversation with Ron too, and we're getting people that want to know more on Mickey Mantle. But again, I as I said this, as a kid, I'll never forget going to watch him play.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, Grant. Did you realize his greatness organically, or were you told this is the great Mickey Mantle and you saw it from there?
Both, because we used to talk about it on the school ground as a little kid, and I really mean this, in first grade, when we used to pick teams at lunch to play out on the schoolyard. We all used to make believe we were Mickey Mantle. So even at age 5 and age 6, we knew that this was greatness. I'm sure I learned that from my dad, but watching and going to the games, you knew that it's just like I've always told this story. This would never, ever, ever, ever happen today. But on the playground at my grade school, boys and girls were talking about the Frazier Ali Super Fight 1 at Madison Square Garden. It was a topic of discussion among us, not just the boys, but the girls, the teachers, like everyone knew about the greatness of Muhammad Ali and Smokin' Joe, so much so that was a topic of conversation on the playground during lunch at grade school. Like that would never, ever happen now. Never.
And think about how different word travels now versus back then.
Yeah, I mean, back then we basically had nothing. You got basically 3 TV stations. You got ABC, NBC, and CBS. That's it. You didn't get anything else. Like there's no cable TV. It's not like you have cell phones. It's not like, that was it. You had 3 stations. And if you were lucky and you had a good antenna, you might get channel 11, WPIX. Okay. That's it. That's it. You didn't get anything else. So you were very limited to the information that you were receiving. But that's why I always said this. I didn't know who Chick Hearn was until later in life. I'd never heard of Chick Hearn growing up. You understand? Like, you didn't have any way of knowing who Chick Hearn was. It's not like you could go on a computer and look it up. Computers didn't exist then. You didn't. You were basically blocked unless you wanted to go to the library. And I really mean this. There was the World Book Encyclopedia, and they were encyclopedias. And you would go to the library, and you would get one of the various encyclopedias, and you could get information that way, depending on when it was published. But like I would have no way of knowing who Chick Hearn was as a kid growing up. I would have no way of knowing. I had no idea. It wasn't in front of me. It wasn't like, wow, who's that, Dad? That didn't happen.
I would imagine that's where like the tape exchanges started happening, where you were able to, if you had a pen pal across the country or a family member that lived across the country, you could exchange, as time went on, tapes, and then you go forth with everything going on with technology. And
it's very interesting you used the term pen pal, because we used to have pen pals where you would write to a stranger and you would hope that they would write back. It was mostly school projects that they would make you do. But no, I'm serious. That was a very popular form of meeting people and communication back then, was pen pals. And you literally, handwritten note, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it out.
Very interesting. My age group, and I'm 42, but with the athletes, when we would have our book fairs each year, there would be a book that they would always sell that had the P.O. boxes for all of your favorite athletes. So those were our pen pals. You'd send them a letter, and sometimes you'd get an autograph back, or, it wasn't usually signed by them, the letter, but at least they took the time to send you something back.
Absolutely. It was an amazing era. Life was so simple, really, before social media, before computers. I took a computer class in college at Bowling Green, and I'll never forget walking in, and the computers were the size of
taller than you.
They were the size of big refrigerators.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And when you had to print out your program, and it would come out in like 100 pages of computer paper. Seriously. It was unbelievable.
Paper that's like folding together back and forth like a zigzag.
Yes, that's exactly right. Folding back and forth. And then I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't even understand what this says. I'm like, what am I doing in this class? I'm like, no, I'm at Bowling Green. I'm like, what am I doing in this class?
Excuse me, professor. How does this help me be a sports announcer?
I mean, I don't even understand. I'm like, what does this say on it? I'm like, give me a freaking break. I got to try to do a computer program. I don't even understand what it says. Like, that's not going to help me. Get me on the field. I got lacrosse practice at 3:00. Let me get out of here. Would you please? I got to score some goals.
Pass fail, please.
Yeah, the problem is you can only take one of those, I think, a year,
right,
or more than two. So I ran out of satisfactory, unsatisfactory options. I graduated Bowling Green with a 2.82 grade point, and I was fine. You know what? You know that to this day, even at age 21, getting out of college, not one time have I ever been asked what college I went to or what my grade point was. Never came up in any job interview I've ever had. Not one time.
How many job interviews have you had?
Not a ton, but in the ones that I did, they didn't even ask me where I went to college. In my profession, all they wanted to know was, how do you sound or how do you look on videotape? They don't give a damn about your education.
Well, you
right?
got the sound part down, but the other part.
Well, the look part, that's why I got in the radio for a long time. And that's why I'm doing radio now. And that's why when we decided to stream on YouTube, I'm like, I don't want a camera on my face. I don't want to do that to my audience for 3 hours. Like, I don't think that's fair. See, I'm a considerate person here in my older years.
You are. Look, you get airplane etiquette. You get audio, no video.
Yeah. I do my
best. For the fans, Napes.
Absolutely. Hey, don't forget tomorrow, Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Well, we'll get you ready for what could be a very lopsided game with Miami going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills in Thursday Night Football. And I just wonder if it is an ugly game for Miami. Will their head coach, Mike McDaniel, be on the sideline the following week? I mean, there's been a bad start for the Dolphins. And if they get blown out up in Buffalo, I don't know. I think he is one of the guys that is clearly on the hot seat. And I wonder if the same thing would happen to Brian Dable if on national TV, the Sunday night game, the Giants at home after blowing the game to Dallas, if they do the same thing against Kansas City, who is expected to win and should win, but if the Giants look bad doing so and are sloppy and look undisciplined the way they did on Sunday against the Cowboys, I wonder if Brian Dable has only got a couple of days left as the head coach of the New York Giants. So tomorrow we'll get you into football. again, I'm looking forward to Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. And we'll also talk college football, and we'll talk about the college football rankings, and we'll talk about, some of the problems going on in college football with some of the teams that we expected to be very good, such as an Arch Manning, who Sean Salisbury said on Tuesday, he might be losing his job soon. Who would have thought that? And we've got the other side of the coin, and Diego Pavia, the quarterback of Vanderbilt, who goes into South Carolina, and they destroy them 31-7. So we'll talk some college football tomorrow and mostly NFL football. We'll get his take on the Jets, the Bears, a couple of other teams that just don't seem like they're making any improvement early on in the season. So that's coming up tomorrow. Football tomorrow. I want to say thank you very much. Love all the messages on the chat line, the phone calls, the interaction. Can't wait to be back tomorrow. A replay of hour number 1 next, right here, the Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators,